Chapter 312, Have You Been Well Too? Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Chapter 312, Have You Been Well Too? The stone building where the fighting ghost race resided. Sitting on a bed inside, High-End GWI's gaze is directed somewhere. Did you gain the understanding, heat, of the pet fighting ghost race? A gaze that somehow seems mocking. However, there's a trace of pity in his eyes. It's truly pitiful to see you struggling to obtain something so obvious. It's almost sad. There's no act more meaningless than that struggle. Clicking his tongue, High-End GWI loses interest, his gaze empty, and he lays down on the bed to close his eyes. Perhaps lying down and closing his eyes is more important than the strange events happening far away. I stop analyzing the sword formation after a while. Enough, I'll study it later. It'll be meaningless to continue any further. After disassembling the sword formation, I step outside the stone building. Shortly after, the cultivators from the mystical scaled fish commanding sect also come out. It seems everyone is here, so let's move to the next domain. Our human race was once a pet race raised in the lofty dragon true person storage scroll, so we should be able to find something much more suitable for us there. We were also pets of the lofty dragon true person? I ask, transforming back into a ghost king to shield myself from the surrounding heat. High-End GWI kindly explains in response to my question. Yes, according to the legend, during the war with the true devil realm, many races living in the middle realm entrusted themselves to the lofty dragon true person storage scroll. Lofty dragon true person accepted them, and this water flow layer is the result. Then shouldn't it be called a protected race, not a pet race? High-End GWI oddly keeps saying things like raised and pet, but based on his explanation, it seems more like the concept of an arc. It seems like they were accepted to protect the races during the war with the true devil realm. Is it just a difference in interpretation between High-End GWI and I? I tilt my head slightly, but decide to let it pass for now. We arrive again at another basin. In this basin too, similar stone buildings are collapsed in the center. According to High-End GWI, this basin was more of a lake in the past. Now it's completely dried up and has become a basin. But in the past, it seems all those stone buildings were actually houses on the water. We enter the basin and arrive at a stone building. This is the building where the human race stayed. Since we couldn't get everything the last time we came, let's search it thoroughly once more. We scatter once more to search the stone buildings. While searching one of the stone buildings used by the human race, I find a small jade slip under a bed. It's rather dull and subtly enchanted with a concealing spell, making it difficult to find without the consciousness of someone at the 4-axis stage or higher. Just what is inside that requires such a high-level concealing spell on it? However, the jade slip contains instructions for projecting an image with heaven and earth spiritual energy, and following those instructions, I create an image and can't help but be stunned. Ah no, the jade slip is a type of erotic painting. Anyway, it seems to be a cherished item of the room's owner. Out of respect for the owner, I decide to pulverize the jade slip. At that moment, chut-chut-chut. As the erotic painting vanishes in front of my eyes, a new image appears. It's the image of a small, thin man. First of all, thank you for destroying this jade slip. I had set it to turn to dust upon my death. But if there was an error in that setting, the thought of this jade slip being passed down to future generations, I'd die of embarrassment all over again. The owner's message continues. The outside is said to be engulfed in the flames of war. Honestly, as it's a time where truly fearsome people are wielding their power, a 4-axis leftover like me should just stay hidden and cower under the protection of the true person. But even so, I was too bored with nothing to do. That's why I looked at what was contained in that jade slip. So I appreciate it. Anyway, it's not much of a reward for getting rid of the jade slip, but I'll show you my daily life from when I was alive in this room. If you want, you can also look at the records I left behind. Chut-chut-chut. The image spreads across the room, transforming into an illusion that thinly covers the entire space. I watch this illusion with shining eyes. The daily life of the small man unfolds within the illusion. Though he talked like he viewed a lot of erotic paintings, he didn't particularly touch any. Instead, he mostly paced around the room with a focused expression or was busy writing something. I watch over his back as he writes. Given that the books he's writing would have long since weathered away, it seems better to view them through this illusion. The title of the book he's writing is about immortal arts. As I watch him write, I read through about immortal arts. The book is precisely about the concept of immortal arts, Shansu. Low-level cultivators use hand seals and incantations to perform spell techniques. And as one's cultivation increases, the spell techniques of cultivators manifest through their intention, yi, and mind, he. From the heavenly being stage and above, one's mind, sir, unites with the heaven and earth spiritual energy itself, and the boundaries of spell techniques disappear. Instead, Specialized powers are researched to create and use abilities. Innate true methods are a result of this. The supernatural abilities of the Earth tribe are similar to spell techniques, except they utilize the potential of the physical body and a fundamental understanding of spiritual energy instead of hand seals and incantations. In that case, how do the spell techniques used by high-level cultivators differ from ours? I once directly witnessed a battle between the fallen judge and the true person. If you ask how I survived, I didn't. I had to die and be resurrected to endure the aftermath of witnessing such a confrontation. But in return, I gained the opportunity to understand what immortal arts truly are, which was indeed an overwhelmingly precious chance. Immortal arts? Although we call the path we walk the path of immortal cultivation, the reason we call ourselves cultivators instead of immortal cultivators is simple. The term immortal, Shan, is not something to be used lightly. The end of cultivation. The ultimate realm that all cultivators aspire to reach is the realm of immortality, Shan. Hence, any method or concept bearing the character for immortality, Shan, signifies something especially powerful or grand. So, what do immortal arts, the spell techniques of true immortals, signify? Curious, I continue reading. An immortal art is an attraction force. It does not refer to the trivial attraction force used at the 4-axis stage. It refers to the attraction force that truly reaches the plane of fate, used by quasi-immortals at the entering nirvana stage. In other words, if one can influence the plane of fate to change fate, or twist the threads of history to lead it in a different direction, that is what is called immortal art. Oh, if that's the case. I recall my Extinguishing Divine Tribulating Heavens technique. The Extinguishing Divine Tribulating Heavens technique, created by Yang Su-jin, is itself a kind of immortal art. And then, I'm startled. Wait, if influencing the plane of fate or the course of history constitutes immortal arts, then the wonderfully mysterious fortress, Yun's play, isn't that also a form of immortal arts? According to this book, the Mad Lord succeeded in entering the domain of immortals, Shing, with a mortal body through dedicating his entire life. It's to the point that it's more believable for there to be 8 enders. Actually, could it be that the Mad Lord also came from Earth? His talent is so immense that it makes one think such thoughts. I understand why the Black Dragon King had rushed over so frantically the moment he sensed the presence of Yun's play in the previous cycle. Immortal arts. The Black Dragon King came after feeling the presence of immortal arts. He must have thought that someone who could use immortal arts in the middle realm would most likely not be a true immortal, but of at least the entering nirvana stage. While I marvel at the Mad Lord, a peculiar thought crosses my mind. Wait, if the power to change fate is immortal arts, then isn't the entire path of immortal cultivation essentially immortal arts? After all, cultivators are beings who defy the heavens. Changing one's fate is the essence of immortal cultivation. Unfortunately, this isn't covered in the book. Instead, the man appears to be describing his feelings when he first encountered immortal arts and the sheer terror it invoked. It's then, suddenly, as the man is writing the book, he closes his eyes as if recalling the moment he saw immortal arts. At that moment, Kugyukyuk. The man's body twists grotesquely, his eyes roll back, and he begins to write something furiously on paper. No, it's closer to scrawling. Wawoom. At the same time, the illusion that had been clear until now begins to shake violently. As if capturing this scene with mere illusions is sacrilegious. What is that? As I watch the distorted illusion, the man, with his eyes rolled back, starts to tear and eat the book he was writing. What? As if he is devouring a delicious meal, he licks his fingers while eating the book, and after a moment, the man, seemingly regaining his senses, looks around in astonishment. The illusion stabilized once whatever he had scribbled disappeared. The surroundings are in a mess due to the man's rampage. The man mutters, "Tage, that just now, see, could it be a revelation? Yes, it must be a revelation. Ho. If the lofty dragon true person dies, I become his resurrection body? He revives within me. He seems pale with fear. Oh, and no. This entity is not the lofty dragon true person. Then who is it? Who are you? What kind of person are you? No. This is someone more immense than the lofty dragon true person or the fallen judge." He clutches his head and suddenly raises his hand to stab his abdomen. Thud. Bright red blood spurts out, and I see something like a stone fall from his dantian area. Simultaneously, the illusion centered around the stone becomes extremely unstable. How long? How long will it keep pouring out? Stop coming out. The man screams in terror and appears to be performing some kind of spell. Although the illusion is too distorted to discern clearly, I see him using a sealing spell to seal the stone. After the sealing spell is cast, the illusion returns to normal. However, the frail man does not. The man who was once engrossed in writing or deep in thought begins to huddle in the corner of his bed, crafting things like erotic paintings. It seems as if he's focusing on the erotic paintings to escape from something. And after a while, the man hides jade slips with erotic paintings under the bed and other places in the room before leaving somewhere. Time passes a little, and all the jade slips except the one under the bed turns to dust. The man had died. The illusion spell in the room continues to operate for a long time before eventually turning off. I pay my respects to the nameless man. At the same time, I remember his words. He revives within me. If they're more immense than the lofty dragon true person, then at the very least, that being is a true immortal. So, he meant a true immortal is reviving within him? Cold sweat trickles down my face. It's similar to Changman Ryong's symptoms? The symptoms of going mad, writing strange things, consuming those writings, and then expelling bizarre stones with eerie power from his body. They are too closely similar to how Kim Young-hoon described Changman Ryong. Moreover, since he was at the 4-axis stage, it seemed like the stones were spewing out directly instead of being found like in Changman Ryong's body. Then, is some true immortal resurrecting through Changman Ryong's body in the head realm? Hugh Heek. As soon as I think of such things, I unconsciously revert from my Ghost King form and feel cold sweat running down my back. Damn it. I do think that I need to save Changman Ryong. But, the moment I think a true immortal is in the process of resurrecting through Changman Ryong's body, I can't bring myself to want to return to the head realm. I sit in the room for a long time, unable to get up. Just why am I so cautious? Even if it's just the thought, what's wrong with deciding to save someone who used to be my master? Suddenly, I hate myself for being like this and bite my lip. After taking a deep breath, I stand up. First, I need to find out what that strange stone is. I think back to the illusion I had seen earlier and search for the place where he had sealed the strange stone. It was the ceiling. Come to think of it, this ceiling. I hadn't noticed it before, but I now feel an attraction force flowing through the ceiling. No, it's more like magnetism. All over the ceiling, magnets are attached inconspicuously, like constellations. By interpreting and unraveling the seal through the magnetic flow and arrangement of these magnets on the ceiling, it's possible to break the seal. And I realize that this method is the same as how Hien GWI interpreted the illusion formation by reading the attraction force of the sky. Was this a frequently used method back in ancient times? I ponder that perhaps Hien GWI had obtained something like an ancient secret art book. The seal is designed so that it can't be undone by anyone below the 4-axis stage. It makes sense since the seal requires attraction force in order to be released. Clank. When I move the attractive force to unlock the latch on the seal, the ceiling ripples like the surface of water. I float up to the ceiling and reach my hand inside. Inside the ceiling, I grasp something like a box. I extend my consciousness to scan around the box, but don't find anything else. When I pull out the box, the ceiling returns to its original state. The box is a luxurious ebony wooden case, covered with dozens of talismans painted in blood, forming a barrier around it. The barrier has deteriorated. Tap, tap. When I tap a few of the talismans, they disintegrate into powder and scatter away. In the past, the barrier would have served its function well, but after so much time, its power had long since faded. After brushing off the talismans, I open the box's lid. However, there are no stones inside the box. Instead, a faint liquid remains. The liquid, which seems like water, emanates a mysterious aura. Yet, upon closer inspection with my consciousness, it appears to be ordinary water. Feeling somewhat dazed, I reach out to touch the water as if in a trance. It's when my hand touches the water. Prick. I suddenly feel a prickling sensation in my heart essence, jolting me back to full alertness. I feel oddly clear-headed. What was that? Just now. It feels like I have been in a daze. And as I ponder for a moment, I remember what that feeling is. I see. That feeling. Cold sweat runs down my back. The sensation of being dazed is just like when I saw something in the head realm and fell into a dream. However, if the something I saw in the head realm is a lethal dose of poison, this liquid feels like something that wouldn't even affect my liver. To use an Earth analogy, if this something in the head realm is Chernobyl, this liquid has the radioactivity of rare Earth elements. While I might have been momentarily entranced, I could have blocked it if I concentrated my consciousness. While keeping my hand on the liquid, I investigate its true nature, and I discover that this liquid once contained much more poison energy and turbid energy. It's only safe now because all the poison energy had dissipated over time. Sizzle, sizzle. While touching the liquid, I succeed in extracting some knowledge within it. Surprisingly, this liquid is a kind of formula. Clear scale armor. This formula is for controlling a Dharma treasure called clear scale armor. Hiss. As I absorb the formula, the liquid vaporizes and disappears. However, there's no information about the clear scale armor itself, and among the items shown by the previous mystical scaled fish commanding sect, there were no Dharma treasures resembling armor. Now, there's nothing else left in this room. I look around the room one last time and then exit the building. While I had been inside, the people from the mystical scaled fish commanding sect had already come out, sorting through what they found. Most of them appear to be elixirs. However, I'm not interested in elixirs, and look for Dharma treasures or method books. But there doesn't seem to be anything related to the clear scale armor's control formula. Was there anything on Senior's side that you found? It seems like nothing. Understood. Then, let's proceed to our next destination. We set off again. Along the way, we continue to fend off fire corpses and obtain turbid devil liquid. Occasionally, we collect fruits from a tree that grows in flames, called the fire origin fruit, gaining small profits, but we don't come across any more stone buildings. According to high-end GWI, there are only 2 stone buildings on the path to the second floor, one belonging to the fighting ghost race and the other to the human race. After a while, we arrive at the entrance to the second floor. Clank, clank. It's a bizarre sight. The entrance to the second floor is heavily shrouded in mist and steam. In other words, there's moisture. Hiss. I click my tongue at the sight of a chain made of water, emitting steam like crazy. The end of the river of flames of the water flow layer. It's cut off as if it had been sliced cleanly, and beyond it, there's nothing but endless void. And above that void is a chain of water that stretches upward. Astonishingly, flames are constantly burning above the water chain, evaporating the water. Yet the chain of water, despite being engulfed in flames, continues to emit steam without disappearing in some incomprehensible manner. Indeed, the divine powers of an entering nirvana cultivator are miraculous. As I click my tongue, high-end GWI laughs heartily. Everyone who comes here for the first time reacts that way. For now, we will go up first, so please observe how we do it and follow. The cultivators from the mystical scaled fish commanding sect line up before me and begin to draw out their immortal beast true blood. Scales sprout on their skin, and as tails and horns emerge, they transform into half-human, half-dragon forms before leaping into the burning chains. Hiss. Although it looks incredibly hot, they cool the heat with their energy as they swim inside the chains, moving upward. It's an interesting method. I try manipulating attraction force. As expected, not only attraction force but also the flying escape technique can't be used, resulting in having to use such a troublesome method. Swim up while cooling the inside with energy, Wawoom. I revert to my Ghost King form again. Energy surges out around me. Frost forms everywhere, and I reveal my 18 heads, watching the last cultivator of the mystical scaled fish commanding sect jump into the chains before approaching it myself. Just as I'm about to enter the chains, Puwak. Someone breaks through the steam from behind and walks towards me. It's the cultivator from the blood shark race with the head of a shark, Gyo-Yom. Behind him are a dozen or so heavenly being demon race cultivators. Weren't there more followers of Gyo-Yom than this? It appears their numbers have decreased to about a quarter. As Gyo-Yom and the demon race make eye contact with me, they all flinch and stop in their tracks. Who are you? I ask, burning the ghost fire even more intensely. Gyo-Yom awkwardly laughs and lowers his head slightly in response to my question. Haha, fellow Taoist. I don't know if you've heard of me, but I am Gyo-Yom, a 4-axis stage cultivator from the blood shark race. Since I've come to this storage scroll before, I know quite a bit about it. Since fellow Taoist may not know much about the true person storage scroll, I'd like to offer some modest help. Why would you suddenly offer help? When I express my doubt with my 18 mouths, Gyo-Yom steps back a bit and laughs awkwardly. Haven't our blood shark race always been friendly with the human race? During the Human Devil Great War, I heard that the artifacts of the blood shark race helped in breaking down the dimensional barrier of the true devil realm. That is true. Please understand it's simply because I wish to maintain a good relationship with fellow Taoist. Do you know how to reach the second floor? I do. Then, do you know what the second floor is like? I know it's called the Tao Departure Layer. The Tao Departure Layer is the true storage scroll of the true person. If the water flow layer is like a peach garden painting, the Tao Departure Layer is filled with Dharma treasures, spiritual elixirs, and methods offered as tributes to the true person. Generally, the human race goes to the human offering altar to find these treasures when they come to the true person storage scroll. However, I also know of another place that has artifacts beneficial to the human race. Oh, without me asking, Gyo-Yom begins to explain the Tao Departure Layer in detail. In the Tao Departure Layer, there's an area where the priests who offered tributes to the true person from various races lived. There's even a place where the priest of the human race resided. However, this area is beyond the sea offering altar where sea demon races offered tribute, so no one from the human race knows its location. So I just need to go and find the place called the sea offering altar. Yes. Beyond the sea offering altar, you will find an ancient palace that suits the lifestyle of the human race. That's the base of the human race's priest. It's filled with treasures far more precious than those in the human offering altar. I tilt my head and say, I can't quite grasp it just by hearing it. How about you come with me? But Gyo-yom jumps and shouts on the spot. How could I? I dare not walk the same path as the noble being. Are you not of the sea demon race? I am here not for personal gain, but to find suitable methods and spiritual medicine for my juniors, for these kids. Therefore, we need to go elsewhere. Please forgive us. Well, no need for forgiveness, I understand. Thank you for the valuable information. Despite the various intentions and intents he has, I thank Gyo-yom for showing goodwill, at least on the surface. I will definitely make sure to remember you well. You will be one with me. Despite this or that, help is help, after all. Though I cannot record it now due to the absence of the canvas of myriad forms and connections, once I heal my main body, Gyo-yom will be recorded in my canvas of myriad forms and connections as a cultivator who helped me and will thus become a part of me. But Gyo-yom trembles in fear and stutters. Ho honor. It's an honor. Please take care. Shall we meet again? For some reason, Gyo-yom seems terrified of me, looking like he wants to flee immediately. Puzzled, I bid him farewell and leap towards the chain. Huff, hawk. Gyo-yom pants heavily, sweating profusely. That crazy madman. Even after helping him, he still intends to kill me? Many 4-axis stage cultivators belong to the heterodox axis foundation. Especially among the Earth tribe, where survival of the fittest prevails, the majority achieve their axis by killing opponents. Particularly, the best prey for heterodox axis foundation hunters are those in the early 4-axis stage. Gyo-yom is well aware that he is one such prey, and has learned a secret technique that allows him to temporarily exhibit the power of the mid-4-axis stage to overcome this. 4-axis cultivators generally avoid fighting unless it's to hunt other heterodox axis foundation cultivators. Preserving their lives with utmost care, they reach the 4-axis stage with the singular determination not to die. They would only engage in battles when attacking the few with the many, or when absolutely certain of victory, or when they have no other choice. Thus, the fact that Gyo-yom can exert mid-4-axis strength is in itself a deterrent against reckless attacks from other 4-axis cultivators. But Gyo-yom feel that this crazy, old monster is different. Madman. Judging by the power of death emanating from his heads, they are all at least of equal rank. This crazy old monster is at the mid-4-axis stage, and it feels like he has only accumulated one axis. Yet he proudly displays the heads of 17 other 4-axis cultivators on his shoulders, as if to show off. It's clear to see. The crazy old monster from the human race who has learned devilish arts is definitely a hedonistic killer. If it's humans who turn their enemies into pills and eat them, he has seen many. But a human who carries their heads on his shoulder like trophies, that old monster is the first. 17 heads at that. Gyo-yom is terrified. That madman plans to kill me too. It's certain. To be one with him. An image of his own skull hanging on the crazy old monster's shoulder flashes through Gyo-yom's mind. Damn it. I died once 1,000 years ago, so if I die again, it's the end. Having resurrected once, another death will be final. Gyo-yom grieves his teeth. Damn it. If I don't get the heavenly lotus fruit, I can't save my wife. How can I back down here? With red lights spilling from his eyes, Gyo-yom bites down and speaks. Everyone listen. You saw that mad old monster, didn't you? The few remaining demon race cultivators nod. Having sacrificed many of his followers to get here, Gyo-yom's reputation has plummeted. Among the demon race, there is even talk of betraying Gyo-yom and escaping. And some are actually planning to seek Seo Li's help to kill Gyo-yom. However, after seeing the crazy hedonistic killer Seo Li again, their thoughts changed. The confident and brutal statement that he will kill Gyo-yom, who had even helped him, and proudly display his head on his shoulder. If that crazy hedonistic killer kills Gyo-yom, what will happen to the rest of them who remain? The answer is obvious even without seeing it. They too would be slaughtered and refined into ghostly materials. The demon race cultivators who had resented Gyo-yom now unite in fear after witnessing the cruel human race old monster. Sha! I cool the chain with energy and swim upwards. Covering myself with ghost fire, I re-evaluate my assessment of the mystical scaled fish commanding sect. Come to think of it, they should have provided me with this information before entering the storage scroll. It shouldn't have been something I learned from a helpful bloodshark race cultivator. The mystical scaled fish commanding sect seems strangely intent on controlling the information reaching me. I ponder as I burn my ghost fire. Could they be planning to betray me? I consider the full strength of the mystical scaled fish commanding sect. Using the 4 symbols nascent soul method, they can borrow power from outside to leap over one stage. The combined forces of high in GWI and the heavenly being stage cultivators amount to 4 in the 4-axis stage. In addition, there are 7 nascent soul stage cultivators, which translates to 7 heavenly being stage cultivators. If they form a coordinated formation, their power will increase, so we should consider them as effectively 5 4-axis stage cultivators. Of course, no matter how much external power they draw, they will still only be at the early 4-axis stage. 5 at the early 4-axis stage. And I am currently at the mid 4-axis stage, and if I use the Mad Lord circuits, I am confident I can raise my power to the grand perfection of the 4-axis stage. It might be possible. With my combat experience, it won't be impossible. However, thinking about high-end GWI, I can't help but feel a sense of unease. That guy is hiding something. A vague sense of foreboding emanates from high-end GWI. I suspect that if the mystical scaled fish commanding sect were to betray me, high-end GWI would be the biggest variable. If they betray me, I should eliminate high-end GWI first. Determining high-end GWI as the primary threat, I rise to the second floor. Horroric. For some reason, the second floor is even hotter than the first. Yellow flames flicker brightly everywhere. And I approach the people from the mystical scaled fish commanding sect waiting for me. Senior has arrived. Then, let's depart. Wait, where are we going? First, we will stop by a place called the Human Offering Altar before heading towards the path to the 3rd floor. And there, we will subdue Calamity Flame. Before that, I will be going somewhere for a moment. Where are you heading? Where do the Sea Demon race offer their tributes? If you head west, you will come across a place called the Sea Offering Altar, but why are you looking for it? There's a sea dragon I need to deal with. I'm thinking of finding some bait for it. At my words, high-end GWI nods and says, then we will wait at the Human Offering Altar. I will provide Senior with the coordinates, so please find your way there. I part ways with the mystical scaled fish commanding sect and head towards the Sea Offering Altar. It's a place filled with the lifestyle of the sea demon race. The buildings resemble those in the Sea Dragon Palace, filled with the same kind of culture. If it weren't for the burning surroundings, one might mistake it for the Sea Dragon Palace. However, it's clear that this place is full of things useful only to the sea demon race, making it unnecessary for the human race to come here. Oh, is that the sea orchid fruit? Seeing the sea orchid fruit, renowned as an ancient spiritual elixir among the sea dragon tribe, I click my tongue. The sea orchid fruit is a unique spiritual fruit that requires absorbing both yin and yang energy to grow, specifically the yin energy of the sea and the yang energy mixed with devilish energy, making it incredibly hard to obtain. But it seems that the storage scroll of Lofty Dragon True Person happens to meet both conditions by coincidence. This is the spiritual fruit Co Ran mentioned. It contains spiritual energy very similar to that of the sea dragon race's power, so consuming it will undoubtedly increase one's cultivation and grant water attribute supernatural abilities. It's also perfect for extracting spiritual liquid to refine the unique Dharma treasures of the sea dragon race, and has the effect of amplifying the sea dragon race's power. Thus, it's essential for any grand perfection 4-axis stage sea dragon aiming to reach the integration stage. It'd make an excellent gift for Co Ran if we meet again later. I mark the sea orchid fruit as mine by inscribing the White Orchid Blessing incantation inside it. With the White Orchid Blessing incantation, the sea orchid fruit will grow even fresher. After marking the sea orchid fruit, I move past the Sea Offering Altar area and arrive at a region densely packed with large ancient palaces. There, I enter a palace that seems to belong to the human race. The water energy is so strong inside the palace that the flames barely penetrate. However, due to the second floor being hotter than the first, the interior is still warm. It's quiet inside the palace. But I click my tongue as I sense the spiritual energy emanating from various places and the spiritual power waves caught within my consciousness domain. Gyo-yom, what a kind cultivator. To provide such valuable information for free, I think to myself that I definitely need to remember him well. It was quite the serendipitous encounter. Could it perhaps be thanks to the blessing of wealth? I dispel my Ghost King transformation and observe the blessing within me. According to Yun Wei, the virtues of the 5 blessings can influence one's fate to some extent. So, gaining the blessing of wealth might have increased my fortune regarding treasures. I sweep through the palace, gathering treasures. I pay particular attention to anything related to Dharma treasures. However, there are no armor-type Dharma treasures in the palace. What exactly is the clear scale armor? Why would a stone, presumed to be left behind by a true immortal, contain something like the clear scale armor control formula? It seems unlikely that I will find it in this palace. I open my storage scroll and flick my fingers, releasing a swarm of mass-produced small general COs that I usually carry with me. The strangely unpleasant-looking generals spread their wings and move to investigate other palaces for Dharma treasures. As a result, I discover one thing. There is no clear scale armor on the second floor. And through the small general COs, I discover one more thing. Tenghua paintings. I walk to the top floor of the ancient palace and look at the Tenghua paintings the general COs have found. In this life, I seem to be particularly intertwined with Tingwa paintings. In the paintings, a majestic dragon is dancing. There are a total of 21 paintings, each depicting the dragon in a different pose. It seems to be a series of movements showing a dragon's dance. I notice some significance in the dragon's movements. Although they are not movements within the realm of martial arts, they seem to have a ritualistic meaning, similar to Han Wan's Great Mountain Splitting Emperor technique. While imprinting the Tingwa paintings in my mind, I discover a jade slip on the top floor of the palace. Like the book I had read in the water flow layer, this jade slip is also written in the common language of the Heaven tribe of the Bright Cold Realm, making it easy to read. The book is a journal about the Tingwa paintings. The author of the book, the owner of the palace, and the priest who offered tributes to Lofty Dragon True Person, had been taught the method of painting Tingwa by Lofty Dragon True Person. It contains methods and insights on how to paint Tingwas better. While reading the journal, one passage catches my attention. The True Person saw the Tingwa we had drawn and was furious. He hung us upside down and beat us severely, saying, "Is this what you call a Tingwa painting?" It seems that Lofty Dragon True Person didn't have a very good temperament either. Or should I say he was merciful for beating them in human form rather than dragon form. I continue reading the journal with a wry smile. The True Person gathered all the priests and delivered a long speech. He said that the Tingwa we are learning possess an incredibly immense inner power. The great immortal beast, who is also a judge of the netherworld, presented the Tingwa to the death god, who in turn taught them to the True Person. In other words, the Tingwa we are learning has been passed down from the death god. I suddenly feel ashamed of myself for harboring complaints in my heart while learning such a great Tingwa. The True Person, with compassion, has taken in worms like us, and the offerings we present to him are merely ceremonial, for they are actually used by us. All he asks of us is to paint the Tingwa, yet I was reluctant to do so. I am ashamed of myself for not wanting to do even that, considering that it is a Tingwa passed down from such a great being. I thought it was humiliating to be beaten while hanging upside down. But on second thought, if he had beaten us in dragon form, we would have been turned into dust. He transformed into human form and used only his physical strength without using any demonic power. On reflection, even that was enough to tear apart my unique domain, almost killing me. But anyway, he is thinking of us. The true shame should not come from being beaten, but from my own heart. Was he at the integration stage? It seems the owner of the palace was an integration stage cultivator, capable of deploying a unique domain. But to have his domain nearly torn apart and almost die from a physical beating by an entering nirvana demon beast in human form. What kind of being is the Lofty Dragon True Person, or rather, the entering nirvana stage beings? Clicking my tongue, I continue reading the journal. There's nothing else that particularly catches my eye. A Tingwa painting passed down from the death god. The style of the Tingwa is strangely similar to those of the Grand Nirvana Temple. Click, 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 click. A bizarre fortress of puppets is flying through the night sky. Inside the puppet fortress, an old hunchbacked man's eyes flash. I smell it. He flares his nostrils and licks his lips with bloodshot eyes. Seo Huiol. I smell Seo Huiol. Let's go, my love. Seo Huiol has finally reappeared. Do you see? Come see the celestial energy with me. There. I am meeting with Seo Huiol. The Mad Lord tears at his hair and howls at the sky from the top floor of the wonderfully mysterious fortress. In the Mad Lord's foresight, a vision of meeting Seo Huiol is emerging. Turn westward. Fate is guiding me to Seo Huiol. That hidden wretch has finally crawled out. He. Lord Seo. 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 Let's go make Lord Seo. In a dark, damp cave, a man with blue hair and white clothes smiles gently as he reaches into the surrounding mist with sparkling eyes. It took a long time, but I found it. Taoist Seo. His eyes narrow vertically like those of a reptile, despite his human body. So this is your pillar. He laughs as he reaches into the thick mist. Crunch. He clenches his hand, but nothing happens. After a moment of silence, he begins to laugh. Haha. Come to think of it, you're still at the heavenly being stage. It's astonishing. While searching for the pillar, I tried to raise the body's cultivation. It must be the talent of the immortal beast derived from this canvas of myriad forms and connections. It wouldn't make sense otherwise if your talent wasn't sealed within it. Smiling meaningfully, he rises from his seat. But that ends now. As long as I grasp attraction force, I can approach the pillar and undo the seal. Now then, let's raise your cultivation to the limit. SSS. The man in white uses a clothing spell to cover himself with a blue robe. Haha, how does it feel, Taoist Seo? The day when I obtain your canvas of myriad forms and connections is near. But there's no answer. Ha ha ha. It doesn't matter. Co Huiol keeps laughing as if something is terribly amusing. == Author's note. I want to see the ever-laughing Co Huiol break down. But he laughs so much that it might take a long time before he cries out in despair. Translator notes. Uploading tomorrow's chapter early because I won't be able to post tomorrow. Chapter 313. Have you been well? 3. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Chapter 313. Have you been well? 3. I glance once more at the movement of the dragon depicted in the Tinghua painting, then step out from the top floor. The ancient palace mainly houses water attribute methods, among which the method called Salt Sea Returning Dew Jade is so powerful that it even stirred my heart. However, to practice it requires either drinking seawater or having water and salt available, so there's no way to practice it at the moment. I simply stored it in my storage scroll. Besides that, a few other water attribute methods caught my eye, but none of them stood out. After exiting the ancient palace, I harvest the sea orchid fruit I had noted earlier and store it before dashing off to the human offering altar area, where I'm supposed to meet up with the mystical scaled fish commanding sect. The surrounding heat is intense, so I transform into a ghost king to cool my body as I fly. The human offering altar area is also vast, similar to the sea offering altar, with spiritual energy waves emanating from various houses and stone buildings, indicating that there are still many things left. When I arrive at the rendezvous point with the mystical scaled fish commanding sect, they are already waiting quietly, having gathered what they could. There seem to be spiritual energy waves emanating from all over the place, but it looks like you didn't gather everything. Haha, it seems that everyone's storage scrolls are quite full. To get what we want on the 3rd floor, we need to leave some space. I see. Then shall we get going? Sounds good. High-End GWI smiles and leads us onward. We arrive at a narrow path covered with crimson flames. High-End GWI frowns as he peers into the path. Having experience in tracking people before, I understand why. Someone has already passed through. The tracks are recent. High-End GWI's nose wrinkles slightly. Everyone. It seems that a prior traveler has passed through. We should hurry. These footprints likely belong to the demon race. I remark, looking at the various footprints. High-End GWI nods. Gyo Yom, who leads the demon race, is from the blood shark race, and they know how to temporarily satisfy the calamity flame by offering blood. We must hurry. We quicken our pace. Soon, we see thick blood mist ahead. Blood sacrifice? I frown. Due to Yuan Li, I loathe and utterly detest human sacrifice rituals like blood sacrifice. As we move further towards the blood mist, we see Gyo Yom and the group of demon race members I encountered earlier. The number of demon race cultivators hasn't changed, so. Upon closer inspection, Gyo Yom is drawing blood from his followers and offering it as a blood sacrifice. Seeing this, High-End GWI is startled and speaks urgently. Damn it, senior, everyone. It looks like these demon race bastards are trying to tame the calamity flame. If they manage to control the calamity flame, it will be a huge problem. We need to hit them from behind now. High-End GWI gathers energy in the form of a black dragon and sends it flying into the blood mist. Boom. An explosion resounds, and Gyo Yom's voice echoes from within. You damn human race bastards. I heard everything. Yes, it's not the first time we've been ambushed by you human race, so I'll let that pass. But it seems there's a misunderstanding. I'm not taming the calamity flame to attack you, but to ensure our safety when we rise to the 3rd floor and back. So why don't we avoid this unnecessary fight? If he's not trying to harm us, there's no need to fight. Shut up, filthy Earth Tribe scum. We humans don't listen to the nonsense of your kind. What nonsense are you spouting to this elder? Die, you Earth Tribe trash. How dare you speak to this elder like that? Die, garbage Earth Tribe. Daring to block the way of the mighty human race. It's been a while since I've tasted Earth Tribe flesh. Despite Gyo Yom's words, the mystical scaled fish commanding sect cultivators taunt him and exude fierce fighting spirit. Gyo Yom, appearing enraged within the blood mist, shouts back. Arrogant and self-righteous human race scum. Then I will show you the power of the calamity flame. Even if you are a hedonistic murderer, you can't ignore it. Gyo Yom mocks someone as a hedonistic murderer. Is there such a person among the mystical scaled fish commanding sect? They are people one really can't let down their guards around. If there's someone with a strong tendency towards hedonistic murder, it wouldn't be bad to eliminate them here. Waruruk. A black flame tinged with blood bursts out from the blood mist towards us. The massive black flame, like a living wave of fire, surges to engulf us. Is that the calamity flame? Sensing the pain and resentment within the black flames, I unleash ghost fire. Yes, it's a flame born of curses. That's what makes it terrifying. It's neither purely a curse nor purely a flame. So to suppress it, you need a curse sorcerer, a fire cultivator, and Een energy. Kugugugugu. The mystical scaled fish commanding sect cultivators step forward and erect a wall of Yin energy. I observed the calamity flame and let out a sigh of admiration. At the same time, I noticed the demon race manipulating the calamity flame with blood from behind. Interesting. They control the calamity flame by feeding it blood. The spiritual energy in the blood must be the key. I notice a similarity in their manipulation to how Yuan Yu had his blood body taken over by Ohai Seo, controlling the blood with Taiji to manipulate the body. After observing their techniques for a while, I extend my left hand. I've seen it well. Warwick. Ghost fire spouts from my 36 eyes. Then I should repay the favor. I raise my left hand and mutter. In Sol, Yinfla. Kugugugu. Curses pour out from my 7 orifices. Though I say 7 orifices, since my skulls lack nasal bones, all merging together, it's actually only 6 orifices. In total, 108 holes spew forth curses. My curses had already surpassed the limits of numbers like 108 or even thousands at the time of Qi building. Since then, my curses have essentially needed to be judged more by their density and range rather than by their count. During the Qi building stage, my curses filled a radius of 30 zhang. During the core formation stage, my curses filled a radius of 300 zhang. At the nascent soul stage, my curses filled a radius of 30 li. And at the heavenly being stage, my curses filled a radius of 3,000 li. Then, what about now that I have reached the 4-axis stage? I exhale. Even the mystical scaled fish commanding sect cultivators, excluding the enemy demon race members, have looks of astonishment on their faces, their eyes bulging. Even High-End GWI, who always subtly looks down on and ignores me, can't help but show a look of interest at this moment. Ghost Curse, Gurijog. Chua. The entire Dao departure layer of the second floor of Lofty Dragon True Person Storage Scroll turns pitch black. The few other Heaven Tribe groups except the Human Race, Demon Race, Tall Tree Race, and Paired Wings Race. The Cold Spirit Race, Spirit Scale Race, and Leaf Race cultivators have just reached the end of the water flow layer and are at the entrance to the Dao departure layer. There's nothing of value aside from the turbid devil liquid inside the fire corpses. Since none of us are devilish cultivators, it's best to sell it to a cultivator who practices devilish arts later. Well, turbid devil liquid isn't bad, but it's quite disappointing considering we risked our lives fighting the fire corpses. Aside from the fire corpses, everything on the first floor was taken by the Human Race, Demon Race, and 4-axis stage seniors, making it hard to find anything worth taking. They all sigh in unison. Well, it's to be expected from the Peach Garden painting-like water flow layer. Let's keep our spirits up. The real treasures are in the Dao departure layer. We don't need to go to the 3rd floor. Just grabbing some Dharma treasures, method scriptures, or spiritual elixirs from the 2nd floor will be worthwhile. That is true. The 1st floor was never meant for storing items. Then, let's head to the 2nd floor. The group of 10 Heaven Tribe cultivators, now cheerful, prepare to ascend to the Dao departure layer. At that moment, Chi-I. Hua? What is that? The faces of the 10 cultivators twist in shock, fear, and despair. What in the world is happening on the 2nd floor? The 2nd floor, the Dao departure layer. From the upper floor, a massive amount of curses cascade down like a waterfall. They flee in terror without even looking back. The world turned into a land of darkness. Even the calamity flame, which had been displaying its might before me, froze in place. I scrutinized the calamity flame. Considering the level of the entity that created it, it must have been much stronger when it was first made. If it had been at its full strength, not even I could have dealt with it. But its venom has weakened over time. Over tens of thousands of years, the calamity flame has significantly weakened. I reach out towards the calamity flame. It whimpers like a puppy needing to relieve itself, and as soon as my hand touches it, it begins to tremble violently. I start converging the curses scattered across heaven and earth into a single point. Quarurik. The curse formed this way exudes a venom comparable to the curse previously created by me and other curse sorcerers at the mystical scaled fish commanding sect. While it took combined efforts to create such a curse during the nascent soul stage, I can now do so alone at the 4-axis stage. The calamity flame, overwhelmed by the venom of my curse, shrinks completely, its enormous size reduced to smaller than a fist. Having consumed the blood of the demon race, it can neither escape nor take any other action, freezing in place. Watching this, High-End GWI shouts, "It's now? Extinguish it." The mystical scaled fish commanding sect cultivators, snapping out of their daze, unleash their spells to extinguish the calamity flame. In truth, the calamity flame had shrunk so much from the venom of my curse that spells weren't even necessary. A simple stomp would have sufficed, rendering their water attribute spells meaningless. High-End GWI gestures to them with a meaningful gaze. How is it? Wasn't it worth following my suggestion? The mystical scaled fish commanding sect cultivators breathe a sigh of relief. As expected of Taoist high in GWI. I believed in you. On the surface, it seems like they are celebrating my recruitment, but I remain vigilant, sensing their uneasy intent. I turn my gaze to the demon race. Oh, fast indeed. To my surprise, Gyo-Yom has already escaped to the 3rd floor. If he hadn't fled after witnessing the curse, he'd either be a bold hero or a madman. The other demon race members begin to notice Gyo-Yom's escape belatedly. The faces of the heavenly being demon beasts turn pale as they meet my eyes. Exuding the lingering venom of the curse from my 36 eyes, speak. Come here. I have a few questions. Once I've satisfied my curiosity, I'll let you rest peacefully, so don't worry. I'm not a hedonistic killer with a pleasure for slaughter, nor do I have a reason to kill those who have lost their will to fight, so I speak to them as kindly as possible. I intend to let them rest peacefully on the 2nd floor as long as they don't interfere with our objectives on the 3rd floor. However, for some reason the demon race cultivators start screaming in terror. Elder, please spare us. Damn it, I need to get out of here. Run. If we get caught by the old monster, we're dead. They all scream and scatter in all directions in a frenzy. Seeing them transform into their true forms and flee frantically, I feel a sense of absurdity. I won't kill you. It seems they misunderstood that I was going to kill them, probably due to their harsh lives. Considering the nature of the human race, it's a reasonable misunderstanding. Or they might have been scared because of the infamous hedonistic killer among the mystical scaled fish commanding sect. In times like this, they're no help. These mystical scaled fish commanding sect guys. Bringing someone with such a bad reputation along on this storage scroll journey just draws unwanted attention. However, letting the demon race go here isn't an option. I need to ask them about the control technique they used on the Calamity Flame. I might find a way to completely free Yuan Yu's body from Co Huil's influence, so it's crucial. All of you, stop right there. Ooh. Duck doo-dook, duck doo-doo-duck. I operate my spell. Under the influence of my death aura, the surroundings start to turn into a desert. Dust and sand flies everywhere. Great Desert to Dead Sea. Cross-sectional divergence. Don Man Kaisan. Kugagugagu. The manifestations of death attached to my shoulders begin to pull away from my body. The deaths of my 18 lives. Those manifestations. As soon as they are drawn from my body, they each form a physical body with their ghostly energy. 18 clones, each as powerful as a ghost king who has mastered the ghost immortal Kuei devilish secrets to the extreme, appear. In return, I lose everything above my neck, but it doesn't matter. Losing my head isn't something new to me anyway. Capture them. Ooh. The manifestations of death, each a heavenly being ghost king, scatter in all directions and fly toward the demon race. Each one could use ghost immortal Kuei devilish secrets, Great Desert to Dead Sea, 6 extremes Thunder Body, Soul Ghost Incantation, and even some martial arts, so capturing them won't be difficult. Bone-chilling ghostly wails echo in all directions. Do-do-do-do-do-do. A swift horse race demon beast of the horse race, Juma. Juma transformed into his true form and ran on all fours like mad. Please don't chase me. Please. Heaven and earth divine spirits, please protect me. His mind is filled with the fear that the mad 4-axis old monster would chase him. He knew at a glance that this being is insane. From the first moment he saw that wicked old monster who proudly wore achievements on his shoulders like trophies, he vowed never to cross paths with him. Gyo-Yom, that damned shark head. It's all because of his stupidity. But everything went wrong. That old monster is now going to capture and slaughter them to satisfy his desires. Perhaps it's remarkable that the mad old monster had restrained himself for so long. However, Juma has seen a few such maniacs in his 2,000 years of life. They were all unable to easily suppress their lust and would vent their dirty desires once every few days. And when they happened to hold back their lust, the intensity was much stronger when it finally exploded. The old monster has been quiet until now. But now that he has no reason to hold back, anyone caught by the old monster will become a part of his grotesque hobbies. Juma curses Gyo-Yom madly as he runs. Fortunately, Juma is quite the fast runner. In the interior of the storage scroll, where flying through the air techniques like the gliding technique and the flying escape technique are restricted, Juma's speed is probably the fastest. As long as the 4-axis old monster doesn't deliberately chase after him, he can likely escape. Then it happens. Bang-ba-bang-bang. Juma notices strange noises coming from behind him. Shivers run down his spine. He turns around, trying to calm his pounding heart. And Juma's eyes bulge in shock. How? One of the old monster's victims, attached to his shoulders. What is presumed to be a ghost creature controlled by the old monster is flying through the air, chasing after him. Flying escape technique and the gliding technique, and even flight using attraction force are forbidden here. So how are you flying? Oh. The old monster's ghost creature emits a spine-chilling ghostly wail as they fly towards Juma. Juma strengthens his entire body and runs even faster. For a moment, it seems as if he's gaining distance, but when he looks back again, he can't believe his eyes. Woo! The ghost creature appears to be creating a spherical orb above its hand. And as it absorbs the orb, the ghost creature's speed suddenly increases more than tenfold, closing the distance. If I get caught, I'm dead. 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 Juma's breathing becomes ragged. But the ghost creature behind him, inscribed with circuit-like patterns all over its body, is steadily closing the gap. Cheek, don't come. Don't come. And no. He cries out in fear. Juma's pupils shake wildly. I'm so scared that I'm losing strength. He realizes his legs are giving out. But he can't let that happen. He has to run faster, even if it means burning my life force. However, Juma clearly hears it. The voice of the ghost creature forming hand seals and reciting an incantation. Allah. The ghost creature is preparing to cast a curse. The same one he had seen earlier. In Sol, Yinfla. Ha-Ewa. And so, Juma, who had managed to run the furthest, the fastest, and for the longest, is finally caught. Chua. Swimming up the chains from the second to the third floor, Gyo Yom grits his teeth. The demon beasts he had cast aside are probably being slaughtered by the cruel and wicked old monster. Perhaps their heads are kept alive and plucked to satisfy his repulsive hobby. The blood shark race is known to be as cold-blooded and cruel as the human race. But they are people too. Even Gyo Yom has his own conscience, his own morals. I'm sorry. From the depths of his heart, guilt arises for the demon race who were sacrificed so cruelly in his stead. But I have no choice. Gyo Yom clenches his teeth, his eyes bloodshot. I must save my wife. For her sake, I will sacrifice anyone. No matter what. He had already sworn to abandon his conscience, morals, and loyalty. If it's to protect what is precious to him, he will do absolutely anything. As long as he can save her. Chwakik. Reaching the third floor, the care layer, he looks around. The distance between the first and second floor is quite long, but the distance between the second and third floor is barely half of that. It is said that originally, there were only 3 floors in the storage scroll of Lofty Dragon True Person. The first floor, Water Flow Layer. The second floor, Tao Departure Layer. And the third floor, Shieji Worship Layer. But at some point, Lofty Dragon True Person stopped going to the third floor and created an additional layer between the second and third floors. Thus, the previous third floor, the Shieji Worship Layer, became the fourth floor, and the newly created layer between the Tao Departure Layer and the Shieji Worship Layer became the third floor, the Care Layer. If the first floor is a peach garden painting and the second floor is a storage scroll, the third floor is a kind of altar. This other world, also known as Lofty Dragon True Person's storage scroll, was said to have been used by him for various purposes, including offering rituals to a certain entity he revered. Clang, clang, clang. Burning water chains that connect the first and second floors and the second and third floors are hanging everywhere. The final destination of these chains are the Care Layer. The fourth floor, the Shieji Worship Layer, can only be entered through special means or by those at the integration stage. However, since entry to the storage scroll is forbidden for integration stage cultivators, it's as if the fourth floor doesn't exist. Fearing that the mad old monster is chasing him from behind, Gyo Yom hurries to the center of the Care Layer. Compared to the first and second floors below, the Care Layer is not very large. And unlike the other 2 floors, the Car Layer is not that hot either. Instead, it's filled with water energy, which invigorates Gyo Yom, a sea demon beast. But the fact that I'm invigorated means that the old monster who has practiced the Ghost Path method will feel the same. In the human race, the Ghost Path method is famously associated with the Black Ghost Valley. The old monster is wearing the black robes of Black Ghost Valley, and Black Ghost Valley is notorious for causing havoc in the seas and deep waters of the bright cold realm. Black Ghost Valley strengthens their power by absorbing the Yin energy of the deep sea, giving him no advantage at all. I must quickly obtain the heavenly lotus fruit and escape through the altar. The structure of the third floor, the Care Layer, is as follows. There is an altar in the center, surrounded by tenghwas symbolizing the Nether Ghost Realm, Purple Gold Realm, True Devil Realm, and Bright Cold Realm. Chains connecting to the lower floors hang beneath each tenghwa. Gyo Yom has come up through the direction of the Nether Ghost Realm tenghwa. The tenghwa of the Nether Ghost Realm is to the west. The True Devil Realm is to the north, the Purple Gold Realm to the south, and the Bright Cold Realm to the east. He runs towards the east. During Lofty Dragon True Person's lifetime, this place served as an altar, but during his battle with a certain entity from the True Devil Realm, it is said that in order to seal the power of the entity from the True Devil Realm, he took away another power called Karmic Fire. Oh, that the being wielded and sealed it under the Melia tree he had nurtured in the Care Layer. Tac 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 tac. Running toward the tenghwa symbolizing the Bright Cold Realm, Gyo finally notices a huge tree in the distance. It's a melia tree. The melia tree is rooted and growing on a small island in the center of a large pond, with a tingwa the size of a cliff behind it. It's the tingwa symbolizing the bright cold realm. However, Gyo has no interest in the tingwa. After all, besides the aura of the tingwa, he can't see the drawings inside the tingwa. The same applies to the tingwa in the other directions. Did they say the tingwa were sealed? Anyway, I think that was the case. Well, they're none of my concern. As he approaches the pond, he sees totems surrounding it. The bodies of the totems are covered with numerous tingwa. Although Gyo can see the drawings within the tingwa on the totems, he has no interest in them either. He only needs the fruit of the melia tree, the heavenly lotus fruit. Just the heavenly lotus fruit. Hook, heek. Gyo breathes through his gills as he finally reaches the pond. And then, his pupils shake. You people, the mid-4-axis stage Nok Ju of the tall tree race. The late 4-axis stage Bek Wyack of the paired wings race. The two Heaven Tribe cultivators have already arrived and are holding the heavenly lotus fruit from the melia tree. The melia tree is one of the tree species found in the bright cold realm. The heavenly lotus fruit is also a common fruit and is often used as a medicinal ingredient. However, what Gyo seeks is not an ordinary melia tree. The true melia tree. His goal is the true melia tree cultivated by true immortals, and as far as he knows, the true melia tree famous for being part of the diet of true immortals can only be found in the storage scroll of Lofty Dragon True Person. What he wants is the heavenly lotus fruit of the true melia tree. And in the case of the true heavenly lotus fruit, unlike other melia trees, only a single fruit is grown once every several thousand years. Haha, Taoist knock, Taoist Beck. Gyo laughs awkwardly. He has to obtain it. It's an essential elixir for his wife to rise again. It's rude of me, but the heavenly lotus fruit is a fruit I desperately need. If you wish for any Dharma treasures or elixirs, please let me know. I have swept them all from the first and second floors. If not, I also have a lot of spirit stones, so I'd like to purchase it. Would you perhaps consider exchanging it with me? However, Nok Ju shakes his head. I'm sorry, Cultivator Gyo. That seems difficult. It's embarrassing to admit, but a while ago, a fanatic from the tall tree race trespassed Sacred Master Bek Woon's heavenly lotus mountain without permission under the pretense of worshipping her. The Sacred Master became furious. As a result, the tall tree race is currently facing a calamity, so we must offer the heavenly lotus fruit to avoid further disasters. Please understand. Gyo speaks with a trembling voice. If that's the case, then it can't be helped. However, would it be possible to share just a few drops of the juice during the drinking good fortune, Yinfu, ceremony after offering it to the Sacred Master? If you could spare just 3 drops, I would be extremely grateful. Just 3 drops. However, Bek Wyack shakes his head at those words. I'm sorry, Cultivator Gyo, but you're a step too late. The juice of the heavenly lotus fruit has already been requested by the Grand Perfection Integration Stage, Grand Cultivator Bek Myong, from our paired wings race. He seeks a spiritual liquid for his upcoming challenge to the star-shattering stage in 1,000 years, and the juice of the heavenly lotus fruit is most suitable for him. The remaining juice after offering it to the Sacred Master by the tall tree race has already been agreed to be given to our paired wings race. At those words, Gyo-Yom's voice trembles. I've heard of Grand Cultivator Bek Myong's reputation. Haha, he is indeed a remarkable person. Congratulations in advance. But just to clarify, the exact spiritual liquid the Grand Cultivator requested is the heavenly lotus fruit juice? Not exactly, but honestly, there aren't many spiritual liquids as effective as the heavenly lotus fruit juice. Haha, isn't the honey of the illusory red flower actually the best for the Grand Cultivator? I know of its location and how to obtain it. If you give me just 3 drops of the juice, I will gladly give you the information. Gyo-Yom's voice grows increasingly tremulous as he sweats profusely. Could you at least give me a rough idea of the location? It's in the Dead Spirit Lake of Desolate Oblivion Pass within the Chaos Realm. I can tell you the method to obtain it as well, so please, just the juice. However, Bek Wyack furrows his brows instead. Desolate Oblivion Pass? That's right next to the Heart Tribe territory. Are you asking me to go to my death? That place is full of slaves once driven by our paired wings race, and those infuriated wretches will swarm me in no time if I go there. You can't call that useful information. I'm sorry, but the juice is important to us too, so we can't give it away. Gyo-Yom glances nervously behind him and looks at Nok Ju with a trembling voice. Cultivator Nok, is there really no other way? I'm sorry, but I've already made a promise with Cultivator Bek, so there's really nothing I can do. You didn't swear on your nascent soul, did you? I can pay any price. It's not an oath on the nascent soul, but Cultivator Bek and I formed an alliance while climbing up here. Our Heaven Tribe does not shamelessly backstab others in the back. 3 drops. Just 3 drops. I'm not asking for much. I'll offer all the artifacts and elixirs I obtained from this exploration of the storage scroll. What use would I have for the elixirs and Dharma treasures of the Earth tribe? I've also collected many things that are effective for the Heaven tribe. However, Nokju speaks with an indifferent expression. I'm sorry, but it's really not possible. This is a matter for our tall tree race, and to appease the wrath of Sacred Master Baekwon. A matter for the greater good. It's also better for the entire bright cold realm. Whatever the reason may be, put aside your greed and step back. Baekwon adds, like Cultivator Nok, I am also doing this for the greater good. If Grand Cultivator Baek Myong becomes a star-shattering esteemed one with the help of the heavenly lotus fruit juice, the power of the heaven and earth tribes will increase, allowing us to exterminate the heart tribe and act more dominantly in the middle realms. Isn't this also for the greater good of the bright cold realm? Sneering, he asks, why are you so desperate for the heavenly lotus fruit? If your reason is more important than the greater good we're discussing, we can give you the 3 drops. At those words, Gyo-yom falls to his knees. Please, my wife is on the verge of death. Her illness can only be cured with the heavenly lotus fruit. There's no substitute. If I just have 3 drops of the juice, I can at least attempt to make an elixir to save her. I, Gyo-yom, am begging you. Please show mercy. Both Nokju and Baekwon shake their heads at Gyo-yom's plea. Ridiculous. Are you saying your wife's life is more important than the calamity facing our entire tall tree race? That's right. The rise of our paired wings race depending on this goes without saying. But with the birth of an esteemed one, we can crush the Heart Tribe's forces and reclaim our slaves, and perhaps even eliminate our worries about the Bloodine realm. Yet you prioritize your personal affairs over such a significant cause. You should be ashamed. Gyo-yom bows his head to the ground, begging. 3 drops. Just 3 drops are enough. I beg you. This lowly Earth tribe pleads with the noble Heaven tribe, please. Nokju and Baekwon sneers. Baekwon especially laughs openly, mocking Gyo-yom. Ridiculous. Are you trying to undermine the greater good of the entire bright cold realm and the Heaven and Earth tribes for 3 drops of juice? What if the Grand Cultivator fails to become an esteemed one due to those 3 missing drops? Will you take responsibility? From the start, you failed to understand the greater good due to your selfishness. Are you perhaps a Heart Tribe spy? Haha. Indeed. Isn't it already suspicious that your wife desperately needs the heavenly lotus fruit, which the Heaven Tribe's 2 heads have their eyes on? Perhaps, I see. Cultivator Gyo, your so-called wife might be a Heart Tribe spy who approached you. Be careful. The 2 cultivators of the Heaven Tribe laugh and jeer at Gyo-yom and his wife, calling them Heart Tribe spies. Nokju, in the mid-4-axis stage, Baekwon, in the late 4-axis stage, and Gyo-yom, in the early 4-axis stage. Their numerical and cultivation superiority allows them to belittle him in this manner. And Gyo-yom fully understands this. He has always been aware of his situation. Therefore, he thought he could rationally navigate through the current predicament. However, for some reason, he feels as if his mouth is moving on its own. You trash. Never before has he acted this way. He is a member of the blood shark race known for their cold-blooded nature, always calm and ruthless. Yet, for some reason, Gyo-yom can't control his mouth. I'm telling you that there's no substitute. 3 drops. Just 3 drops will do. The offering to the Sacred Master doesn't have to be the heavenly lotus fruit, and it doesn't have to be you who offers it either. You're just looking for it to boost your own achievements. Was it just once or twice that you bastards from the tall tree race barged into the heavenly lotus mountain, like imbeciles, all willy-dilly, and courted disaster? How many times have we seen you seeking offerings to ward off calamities? Everyone in the bright cold realm knows of it. You don't really need the heavenly lotus fruit. Gyo-yom's eyes turn to Baekwon. His eyes are bloodshot. You're the same. Benefit for the Heaven and Earth tribes? It's not the Heaven and Earth tribes that benefit, but your paired wings race. And what? Your Grand Cultivator can't become an esteemed one due to 3 missing drops of juice. If he was someone who could become an esteemed one by sucking down juice, he would have become one long ago and gloriously embarked on the expeditions with the others. Why would he still be like this? Even the Heart Tribe member who's a lot younger than your Grand Cultivator and looks like a green-skinned beggar became one much faster and became stronger than anyone. What kind of person who complains about the lack of juice becomes an esteemed one? And if they really can't successfully rise in cultivation due to 3 lacking drops of juice, and you're truly loyal to your race, shouldn't you be risking your life to go to the Heart Tribe's front yard to pick the illusory red flower? Baekwon and Nokju's faces contort with rage. This filthy scum, talking nonsense. It seems this one needs some discipline. They say those from the Earth Tribe are born from beasts and don't even know who their parents are. Looks like the saying is true. Nokju's body begins to transform into wood, and 3 pairs of wings sprout from Baekwon's back. Blood-red light begins to emanate from Gyo-yom's eyes. As soon as you get scratched, you're ready to kill. You're the ones who talk nonsense, yet you criticize me? Fine, you call it nonsense. Let's go all out with this nonsense then. Your tall tree race claims to worship the sacred Master Beck Woon like fanatics and sneak into the heavenly Lotus Mountain. But who in the bright cold realm doesn't know the truth? Who doesn't know that some of your rutting tall tree race members secretly enter heavenly Lotus Mountain just to pollinate with sacred Master Beck Woon? Why would the merciful sacred master bring down calamity just for entering the mountain? It's because you always cross the line that calamity befalls you. And Grand Cultivator Beck Myong, who worries about not reaching the next realm without 3 drops of juice. Who doesn't know he was beaten nearly to death by the Heart Tribe Dwarf Esteemed One at the 4th stage of manifestation and was in a vegetative state until recently? You say he needs the heavenly lotus fruit juice to become an Esteemed One? Don't make me laugh. Everyone knows you want the juice for that old man who pisses himself and has seizures if you whisper collapsing immortals and annihilating heavens into his ear while he sleeps. Nok Ju and Beck Wyke's faces turn crimson with anger. The eyes of the 2 Heaven Tribe cultivators are about to flip in rage. Blood red energy surges from Gyo Yom, while green energy emanates from Nok Ju and dazzling white light from Beck Wyke. And at that explosive moment, step, shua, the surrounding temperature drops as someone approaches. It's Seo Li, the Ghost King with 18 heads. Gyo Yom can sense it, the lingering curse from Seo Li, and the smell of blood. He had likely brutally killed the demon race Gyo Yom left behind. Judging by the time it took to come up, he probably enjoyed himself. Perhaps a hellscape has unfolded on the 2nd floor. The demon race he had gathered must have already had their heads ripped off, skins flayed, and souls extracted as part of the mad old monsters collection. I'm sorry. Normally, he wouldn't care, but this time even Gyo Yom feels guilty towards them. But there's no time to be caught up in guilt. Maybe I can use this crazy old monster. At this moment, he has to use everything at his disposal. Gyo Yom shouts at the mad old monster Seo Li, who carries the heads of 17 fellow cultivators who he killed on his shoulders. Old monster, what do you want? Seo Li responds calmly. We only need the heavenly lotus fruit and the recognizing Sin Tenghua. Great, that's good. So you also want the heavenly lotus fruit as well? I only need 3 drops of the juice. Let's join forces. Those 2 Heaven Tribe members need the entire fruit, so they won't negotiate. Seeing Seo Li appear to contemplate, the 2 Heaven Tribe cultivators flinch. Gyo Yom, his eyes glowing with blood-red light, speaks. After this is over, if you give me a bit of time, I'll even offer my neck to you and become one with you. Release your desires. The Heaven Tribe members in front of you should suit your taste as well. Considering you killed 17 cultivators of the same rank and displayed their heads on your shoulders, you'd surely want our heads too? Especially the heads of the tall tree race and the paired wings race, which are hard to come by. These are unique specialties found only in their respective territories. Release your dreadful strength here. Gyo Yom shouts with determination. He has completely provoked the old monster before him. Now all that remains is for this lunatic to be fully aroused and lose himself in desire, ripping off the heads of these vile Heaven Tribe members. Even if it costs his life, he will obtain the medicine, heavenly lotus fruit. That is Gyo Yom's resolve. And Seo Li remains silent. Chapter 314. Have you been well? 4. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Chapter 314. Have you been well? 4. Silence lingers for quite a while. Seo Li stands still, seemingly deep in thought, while Gyo Yom feels his blood run dry. Cultivator? At Gyo Yom's words, Seo Li looks at them with eyes flickering with ghost fire. Damn it, what is he thinking? Despite the significant differences in appearance among the various races, making it difficult to read expressions or interpret body language correctly, living beings generally share some common facial cues, like frowning. While it was indeed challenging to understand the expressions of the rotting owl race, fungal bone race, and the cultivators of the insect race due to their vastly different lifestyles, Gyo Yom is familiar with the expressions of the human race, who frequently trade with the blood shark race. However, in the case of the madman in front of him, whose face is a skull, it's impossible to discern what he is thinking. As Seo Li's silence continues, the 2 Heaven Tribe cultivators, who had been tense, begin to laugh awkwardly. Haha, human race Taoist. You appear to be a cultivator from the Black Ghost Valley. May I ask why you need the heavenly lotus fruit? Seo Li does not respond. Seeing this, Nok Ju and Beck Wyke laugh. If it's spirit fruits you need, we can compensate you later with fruits cultivated by the tall tree race, such as the tea energy fruit, the sea orchid fruit, the deep sea fruit, the island flame fruit, and such. As a cultivator from the Black Ghost Valley, wouldn't these spirit fruits with deep sea attributes be extremely useful to you? Our paired wings race will also offer compensation if you yield the heavenly lotus fruit. I've heard that your Black Ghost Valley is recently establishing roots in our race's territory. We are willing to support the Black Ghost Valley at the racial level, so don't listen to that Earth Tribe scum. Let's band together as fellow Heaven Tribe members and kill that Earth Tribe scum. What do you say? Finally, Seo Li opens his mouth. No. What did he say? Please say that again. The 3-4-axis cultivators focus on Seo Li. Then, Seo Li speaks a little louder. I'm saying, I'm not a crazed hedonistic murderer. His words bring silence to the room. Nok Ju and Baek Wyk laugh awkwardly. I see. That's right. That can be the case. Our paired wings race also has people like you, who call themselves artists. Of course, none are as tremendous an artist as you. Who called you a hedonistic murderer? Your actions are, artistic expressions. Laughing awkwardly, Baek Wyk especially showers Seo Li with praises to win him over. And Seo Li falls silent again. Gyo Yom smirks as he watches the 2 Heaven Tribe cultivators laugh awkwardly. Pathetic fools. They are pathetic. These guys lack determination. They only want to escape the current crisis. They can never compare to someone determined like himself. Therefore, he will win in this situation. That's right. That paired wings pigeon is correct. Fellow cultivator is most definitely an artist. Those things on your shoulders must be your masterpieces. They are undoubtedly excellent artistic expressions of fine form. I understand your artistic expressions. Up to this point, Baek Wyk had said similar things. But Gyo Yom ponders over his words and takes it a step further. However, do you think those Heaven Tribe fools understand your art? Absolutely not. They are just flapping their gums to escape the current situation. I, Gyo Yom, dare to say this. As someone who understands your expressions of art, I am willing to become your work. Please give me the opportunity. Those Heaven Tribe bastards don't have the passion to become your work, so you can't just give them a chance. So, let's join forces to rip off those liars' heads and then turn me into your masterpiece. Gyo Yom smiles bitterly. I'll probably die now. He will become a work of the mad human race devil and be displayed on his shoulders. But those 2 Heaven Tribe bastards who stood in his way will die today as well. At Gyo Yom's words, Nok Ju and Baek Wyk's faces turn pale. The 3-4-axis cultivators' gazes are fixed on Seo Li. Everyone is waiting for Seo Li's decision. I'm speechless and stay silent for a long time. Damn it. Has everyone been looking at me with those kinds of eyes all this time? The mad hedonistic murderer that made the demon race scream and run away was apparently me the whole time. Just how are they seeing me to think that I'm such a depraved being? I'm not even Yuan Li, and I feel extremely displeased being treated as such. I'm not even the unpleasant-looking bizarre monster General Seo, so what's wrong with me? Suddenly, I feel a surge of indignation, and for some reason, I feel a prickling sensation deep inside my heart essence again. I press my head, feeling the headache. Well, yes, human aesthetics are diverse, and given that these are different races, they might find me frightening due to their different aesthetic senses. The main problem seems to be their misconception that I am carrying around the heads of other 4-axis stage cultivators. I decide to clarify the misunderstanding. This is not artistic expression. However, Nok Ju, Baek Wyk, and Gyo Yom nod fervently and respond in strange agreement. Of course, fellow cultivator. It's not just a simple artistic expression. The profound meaning is not something ordinary people like us can grasp. Look at those Heaven Tribe fools. They don't understand. They lack the courage and will. First of all, stop calling it an artistic expression. And there's a misunderstanding. These heads are not of others. These heads are different versions of myself. Understand? For some reason, I can see the intent of the other 3-4-axis cultivators rotting away. I feel like I'm going crazy. Damn it. No matter how I explain, they won't get it. Just how in the world are they interpreting my words? I eventually give up on trying to convince these 4-axis cultivators, whose aesthetic senses are vastly different from humans. It seems I had expected too much from vastly different races. Well, anyway, you asked why I need the heavenly lotus fruit. I'm here on behalf of the mystical scaled fish commanding sect. They seem to require the heavenly lotus fruit urgently, so negotiations are unnecessary. At those words, Gyo Yom's face brightens, while Nok Ju and Baek Wyk's faces darken. Nok Ju and Baek Wyk laugh awkwardly and speak. Haha, the mystical scaled fish commanding sect. That's the sect under the command of Black Dragon King Hein Eum, right? I've heard of it. Though I don't know why they need the heavenly lotus fruit, our tall tree race. Yes, and our paired wings race also. The 2 cultivators begin explaining their circumstances. However, I simply listen in silence, with ghost fire flickering in my eyes. After hearing their explanations, I turn to Gyo Yom of the Earth Tribe and ask, why do you need it? At my words, Gyo Yom flinches and cautiously replies, to cure my wife, I need an elixir called the High Lotus Pill. The most important ingredient is the heavenly lotus fruit. All other ingredients can be substituted, but the main ingredient, the heavenly lotus fruit, cannot be replaced by anything else. Just 3 drops of its juice will suffice. Please, I beg you. Without my wife, my life is meaningless. I am a sinner and a trash-like person, but my wife is an innocent and kind person. Please. I look at the begging Gyo Yom and the Heaven Tribe cultivators, who have come with important missions for their respective races. In my heart, I want to use the 1,000 lustrous forest sea or Yuan Li's secret technique to quickly cultivate the heavenly lotus fruit, just as I had rapidly cultivated the longevity fruit before. However, even at a glance, the heavenly lotus fruit in front of me possesses such immense spiritual nature that even the longevity fruit can be considered insignificant in comparison. The spiritual energy contained in this small fruit alone is enough to elevate a mortal to the 4-axis stage. So what more needs to be said? Moreover, the subtle divine aura I sense instinctively tells me that the heavenly lotus fruit can never be artificially cultivated. It's unfortunate. If only there's a way to satisfy everyone. But it seems that won't be the case. Thus, my decision is already made. I'm sorry, but from what I've heard, you two seem to have substitutes, but it appears that both I and this fellow do not. Gyo Yom's wife and the mystical scaled fish commanding sect both require the heavenly lotus fruit for their purposes. The mystical scaled fish commanding sect also has the significant goal of escaping Hein Eum's grasp, so their justification isn't lacking. Of course, there's no need to explain all this, so I look at Gyo Yom and speak concisely. And, your story moved my heart the most. I will help you. Thank. What is your wife's cultivation stage? She is in the same 4-axis stage as I am. Oh, I see. Then, once she recovers, I'll make sure to pay a visit, even if it's only to check up on your well-being. Stories of true lovers always move my heart. I laugh heartily and pat Gyo Yom on the shoulder before stepping forward. No matter how many times I think about it, I'm weak to stories of lovers. My disciples Kawa and Manho, Su-in and Hong Yun from the Devil Realm, John Myung-hoon and Jin So-hei too, and myself as well. So, when I heard Gyo Yom's story, my heart stirred the most. 3 drops should be acceptable to the mystical scaled fish commanding sect. I find myself hoping for the happiness of Gyo Yom and his wife. For some reason, Gyo Yom's intent seems to cool down and freeze, but having a cold mind in front of an enemy is a good sign. He must have a lot of combat experience. Not bad. Jaejeok. I open my 18 mouths and spread my arms. Now then, it's unfortunate, but come at me. Kaiya. Oh, chilling ghostly wails echo in all directions. Cover me. I will finish this in one blow. Chithiye. I gather a curse spell in my left hand as I speak. Having seen my curse before, Gyo Yom's eyes shine as he blocks in front of me. Nok Ju and Baek Wyik exchange glances. Then, Baek Wyik forms a hand seal. Pot. Simultaneously, 3 pillars emerge around Baek Wyik. Late 4-axis stage. The level where the 4-axis canopy can be used. The 3 pillars connect to form a canopy, which expands, enveloping us in them. In an instant, the surroundings transform. We find ourselves moved from the care layer to a position in front of a massive stone building atop a high mountain range, among the drifting clouds. Baek Wyik floats above the stone building, spreading 6 pairs of wings. The paired wings race is also known as the Heavenly Wings race. Most of their abilities come from those wings, and it is said that when light radiates from them, they can repel all devilish arts with the power of vanquishing evil and upholding righteousness. Chi 3. My ghostly energy doesn't mesh well with their abilities. Additionally, Nok Ju begins to take root, turning the surroundings into a forest. One side has vanquishing evil and upholding righteousness, and the other has the wood attribute. Wood overcomes earth, so the wood attribute is the worst match for my Yin attribute method. Yin corresponds to Kuin, Kuin corresponds to earth. Moreover, this place is inside Baek Wyik's canopy. Inside here, Baek Wyik is practically no different from a grand perfection 4-axis. Kugagugagu. Baek Wyik's light shines down on Gyo Yom, while Nok Ju's summoned forest moves as if alive, restricting Gyo Yom's movements. Gwawa. Gyo Yom transforms into his true form and begins to grow larger. His true form is a giant blood-red shark, summoning blood-red seawater around him. On the high mountain range, a green mountain range and a blood-red sea emerge, flowing down the mountains. Nok Ju's forest binds Gyo Yom, and Baek Wyik begins descending toward me. Chiyirya. The light from the grand perfection 4-axis Baek Wyik bears down on me. Orthodox Axis Foundation, I sense the precise power of the 5 elements within Baek Wyik's body, and my eyes shine. It's an Orthodox Axis Foundation obtained through proper rituals, not through killing others. Although it's a 5 elements axis, it is definitely far more stable and powerful than the typical heterodox Axis Foundation cultivators. Kuguguguk. The mountain range's attraction force holds me down. The attraction force intensifies, crushing me with the light. As long as I am inside Baek Wyik's canopy, The attraction force is entirely under his control. Resisting Beck Wyke's attraction force, I emit my own attraction force and complete the curse spell. Bathed in light, Beck Wyke calmly raises his hand. Flash. The radiant light pours down on me. The cursed domain surrounding me shrinks. Vanquishing evil and upholding righteousness. Good. Then let me try. I reverse the curse. CHCHCHCHCHCHCHCHD. The white orchid blessing incantation envelopes the surroundings. The curse transforms into a blessing, shining white, and begins absorbing Beck Wyke's light instead. WH1. Beck Wyke looks flustered, but the white orchid blessing incantation has already grown to cover the entire mountain range, devouring his light. Sensing the crisis instinctively, Beck Wyke stops emitting light and binds the blessing with attraction force. And, as soon as I feel the light of vanquishing evil and upholding righteousness disappear, I reverse the curse again. Pot. The curse spell, which has turned black again, converges into a single point. The pitch-black curse burns ominously on my hand. Damn it. Realizing the danger of my curse, Beck Wyke widens the distance between us. But it's useless. Woo-woo. I release gang spheres around me and reabsorb them into my body. Boom. In an instant, I reach in front of Beck Wyke and thrust the curse towards him. Auk. Get away. That'd be difficult. I dodge the clumps of light he fires and close the distance to him. Sensing the danger, he urgently projects light from his wings. Instead of radiating light as before, the wings split into thousands of pieces. The fragmented wings become hands of light, flying towards me. I try to dodge, but the attraction force slows me down, and I am eventually caught by the hands of light surrounding me. Got you, now die. Got me. With the curse spell still on my left hand, I ignite Ghost Fire. Kikigijik. Kikijik. Circuits begin to engrave themselves across my body. Simultaneously, an enormous power surges through me. Kuk-kuguguguk. Ignoring the hands of light with sheer force, I begin approaching Beck Wyke. He shouts in shock. I'm impossible. It shouldn't be ineffective against a ghostly being. Stay away. Quadaduk. In addition to the hands of light, the attraction force also ensnares me. But I continue to take one step at a time, closing the distance towards him. Beck Wyke looks terrified, but the distance between us steadily decreases. Since the hands of light binding me are emanating from his back, he can't flee. Heavy. However, as I get closer, the attraction force grows stronger, slowing my steps. And when I am about 5 steps away from him, Kaduduk. Suddenly, trees sprout from the ground and entangle me. Ho! Gyo Yom, who had been fighting Nokju evenly, seems to be running out of stamina and is being pushed back. Having found some leeway, Nokju sends support in this direction. Trees, hands of light, and attraction force. Unable to overcome this combination, I finally fall to my knees. Crash. I collapse to the ground. Huff. Huff huff you. You were being cocky, but is this all? Despite being called the Azura race. Then, I open my mouth. Geniok. Simultaneously, one of the faces attached to my shoulders retract into my body and emerge from my mouth. Juuk. The face that emerges from my mouth becomes a ghost king, receiving my curse and flies towards Beck Wyke, hitting him directly. Gaiaweok. Beck Wyke screams so loudly to the point his eyes roll back, and he begins convulsing after receiving my curse. At the same time, his hands of light and the attraction force, and the entire 4-axis canopy begins to scatter. Before I know it, we are back in the care layer, with only Beck Wyke thrashing before me. Beck Wyke foams at the mouth and writhes in pain. An excruciating torture for a 4-axis cultivator that can't easily die from a heart attack. In the end, unable to endure the pain, Beck Wyke disintegrates his own heavenly circle and earthly bearings to commit suicide. After watching Beck Wyke's soul drift away through the plane of soul to its place of resurrection, I turn to look at Gyo Yom fighting Nokju. Gyo Yom is being pushed back by Nokju, but my joining the fight is inevitable. Moreover, I see the cultivators from the mystical scaled fish commanding sect from the distance approaching to join us. You're finally here. Help me subdue this tall tree race person. Apologies for the delay. There were a few things to handle below. Let's proceed with the support. With the aid of me and the cultivators from the mystical scaled fish commanding sect, Nokju gradually begins to be overpowered. Gyo Yom endures Nokju's attacks from the front, while I launch curses and ghost claws from behind, polluting Nokju's forest. The Een energy of the mystical scaled fish commanding sect devastates the forest. And strangely, Hien GWI is nowhere to be seen. Hien GWI is at the lakeside with the Melia tree. He's examining the Tenghua attached to the totems around the lakeside. The Tenghua all boast of exquisite artistry, but occasionally, there are bizarre ones. For example, a painting that is so blackened with ink that it appears more like black paper than a Tenghua. However, Hien Gwi's face lights up with joy as he looks at the black paper. Found it. The Western Heaven Tenghua, Shi Tinjun, Ew. His hand reaches for the black paper and grabs it forcefully. At the same time, a wave emanates from the center of Hien Gwi and the black paper. It's a wave connected to the oldest existence. The wave spreads unnoticed by anyone. From the care layer to the Dao departure layer, from the Dao departure layer to the water flow layer, from within Lofty Dragon True Person storage scroll to the Dead Earth domain, and from the Dead Earth domain to the Swiftwind domain. The wave is so subtle that no one notices. Bang! My curse strikes Nokju's arm, causing it to start decaying. In the end, perhaps having made some decision, he stops fighting Gyo-Yom and me, and starts running towards the altar in the center of the care layer, clutching the heavenly lotus fruit. But I start accelerating. Pat it. Time slows down. Simultaneously, I use Mountain Lord's soaring flight, dashing towards Nokju. Nokju looks back at me, gritting his teeth. Kuergle, come here. Shouldn't you be with your comrades? Come and let's share a talk. Spewing ghost fire from my 18 heads, I charge at him. Nokju, meeting my 36 eyes, shuts his eyes tight and throws the heavenly lotus fruit far away before plunging himself into the altar. Simultaneously, his body is enveloped in light and disappears. I catch the heavenly lotus fruit he tossed and look at the altar. Hien Gwi approaches me and laughs. Originally, the altar in the care layer was a gate to the Shieji worship layer, but unless the proper ritual is performed, it won't lead there, but instead expel the target outside. Of course, it can be used simply as an exit, but since it ejects rather harshly instead of through the proper exit, it causes significant strain on one's vitality. If one's life force isn't equivalent to that of the 4-axis stage, most prefer to use the proper exit gate. I see he escaped then. It's a good thing. We obtained the heavenly lotus fruit. Now, we only need to get the recognizing Sin Tenghua. Is that so? Is the recognizing Sin Tenghua over there? Yes, it's among those totems. However, all those Tenghua paintings hanging on the totems are directed towards the Melia tree. It's a kind of seal. The power of karmic fire that was once possessed by the entity from the true devil realm is sealed in the Melia tree, and the Tenghua paintings are preventing its heat from leaking out. So, we must be careful not to damage the formation while retrieving them. It will take a bit of time. Understood. I'll hand over the heavenly lotus fruit first. I just need to help find the recognizing Sin Tenghua as well. That would be appreciated. And I have a request. What is it? I speak while gesturing towards Gyo-Yom. We obtained the heavenly lotus fruit from the Heaven tribe, thanks to his help. How about giving him some of the fruit juice? Of course. Would a cup's worth be sufficient? That should do. How long will it take to find the recognizing Sin Tenghua? About 1 meal's time. Please wait a moment. Got it. I nod. Hien Gwi approaches Gyo-Yom, extracts the juice from the heavenly lotus fruit, and pours a cup into a small gourd flask for him. Tears flow from Gyo-Yom's eyes as he thanks Hien Gwi. Looking at the juice, he turns his gaze to Seoli. Now it's time to settle the debt. Since he made a request to the devil, it's time to pay the price. He approaches Seoli hesitantly. I have one request. What is it? Before you turn me into a work of art, please allow me to deliver this juice to my wife. Seoli remains silent for a moment, and then sighs as if something is unfair. Hiya. As blue breath spews from his 18 mouths, Gyo-Yom flinches. I won't turn you into a work of art. Pardon. Go to your wife. I'll let you go. Is that really true? Seoli, attempting to show the warmest expression possible, speaks. Though, being only a skull with no expressions, it only sends chills down Gyo-Yom's spine. Didn't I say previously? I enjoy stories of lovers. I wish you and your wife all the happiness. I'll visit you later, even if it's only to inquire about your well-being. Is it fine to look for Gyo-Yom of the blood shark race? I'm asking you a question. If I answer, will you let me go? Well, of course. Due to the kindness Gyo-Yom had shown, Seoli had gained many treasures and opportunities in the ancient palace. He also helped in obtaining the heavenly lotus fruit, so Seoli has grown quite fond of him, though his intent shows a bit of fear towards me. If I meet them often and show them that appearances aren't everything, we might become friends. I wonder what gift would be good when visiting the sick. While Seoli is pondering such thoughts, Gyo-Yom nods slowly with a pale face. If you come to the blood shark race territory, I will contact you. Good. A promise is a promise. Yes. Exhausted from the fight with Nokju, Gyo-Yom bows to Seoli and walks wearily towards the altar, almost collapsing. He ascends the altar, and a white light envelopes him, transporting him outside. From then on, Gyo-Yom never went to the blood shark race territory again, nor did he contact Seoli. And Seoli noticed something below the altar when Gyo-Yom was expelled by the white light. I saw characters briefly shining brightly under the altar. They resembled Oracle Bone script. This is Having learned the common language of the Heaven tribe in the bright cold realm, and various basic knowledge, I recognized the Oracle Bone script. There were 3 Oracle Bone characters. The first character meant water, Fei. The second character meant departure, Chiu. And the last Oracle Bone script, representing an animal, was read as Xieji, Drew, in the current bright cold realm. While looking at the 3 Oracle Bone characters, I recall something. The 3 Oracle Bone characters, water, sun, departure, Cheer, Xieji, Drew. Combined, they form the character for law, Fa. At that moment, I realized something. Water flow, Su. Dao departure, Dao cheer. Xieji worship, Druji. Lofty Dragon True Person Storage Scroll contains the meaning of law, Fa, when combined. While contemplating the character for law, Far, that I know of, a thunderous realization strikes my mind. The character for law, Fa, has 21 strokes. And in the ancient palace of the priest in the Dao departure layer, there are 21 Tenghua paintings of dragons. The dragons in the 21 Tenghua paintings each depict a different movement. I realize that when combined, these movements form the character for law, Fa. I look at the altar. Simply stepping on it will result in being expelled outside. However, if taken with the proper form, the altar is said to open the gate to the Xieji worship layer. Woo-woo. I revert my Ghost King transformation and assume a stance in my human form. Let's see if I can recall the dragon form Soaring Claw. The dragon form Soaring Claw, inspired by the movements of the yellow dragon Gurion. Recalling the poses of the dragons in the Tenghuas, I adjust them to suit the human form through the dragon form Soaring Claw. By ensuring that each movement reveals a stroke, I make it so that combining all the postures reveal the character for law, Fa. Just like in the Tenghua paintings. As I already made the dragon form Soaring Claw once, it isn't difficult. I begin to perform the dance depicted by the dragons in the Tenghua paintings in my human form. A total of 21 movements. Ascending the altar, before being expelled outside, I move fluidly through the 21 movements. At the same time, I feel my vision split into 2. This is thunk. Simultaneously, I feel my body being expelled off the altar. Yet at the same time, I am standing on the altar. I look up at the altar. Simultaneously, I look down from the altar. There's a me both above and below the altar. The me on top of the altar is semi-transparent, and it seems like only I can see it, as the people from the mystical scaled fish commanding sect don't notice it at all. Since I have seen this semi-transparent me once before, I'm not too surprised. Dream body. It's the dream body that one has to create when passing through the side path to the nether ghost realm if one has not practiced the ghost path method. I recognize that the flesh of dreams and my body had split. Rather than a clone, it feels more like having an extra pair of hands and feet. It feels like I have gained a new set of hands. I try controlling the dream body. Simultaneously, I examine the altar through the eyes of the dream body. Even the ghost path method couldn't detect this. Why is this here? I murmur in disbelief. Above the altar, through the eyes of the dream body, I see the entrance to a side path. It's almost identical to the side path in the Black Ghost Valley, with the only difference being that a large beast with horns is embossed on the gate. I cautiously enter the side path with the dream body. This place, it's calm. I instinctively realize that this side path is entirely different from the one I had entered last time. It isn't just a different side path. It's deep. Literally, it is overwhelmingly deep. Despite being the same Ashen world, I instinctively know that this side path is far deeper than the side path in the Black Ghost Valley. Remaining vigilant, I walk through the side path. How long have I walked? Finally, I reach the end. This is the Xieji worship layer. I open the door on the other side of the side path with the dream body. Senior, could you please help me for a moment? I ask, looking at the approaching Haiyan GWI. What do you need help with? Since we've extracted the recognizing Sintenghua, we need to stabilize the seal. Otherwise, the karmic fire will escape. All right. What do you need me to do? Please provide us attraction force. Oh, I see. I stand up. Then, placing a hand on Haiyan GWI's shoulder, I activate a curse. Chi. The curse envelopes Haiyan GWI. It feels like you're lying? Speak honestly. What are you plotting? As I glare at him with piercing eyes, Haiyan GWI smiles faintly. Everyone he's noticed. Attack now. At that moment, the cultivators from the mystical scaled fish commanding sect unleash their 4 symbols nascent souls behind them. Kugugugugu. Dark power envelopes them, and in an instant, 3 of their grand perfection heavenly being stage cultivators strengthen to the early 4-axis stage. 6 nascent soul stage cultivators became as strong as 6 heavenly being stage cultivators. As expected, you planned to betray me all along. Haha. Even if you are a senior, you can't. Boom. I detonate the curse on Haiyan GWI. Die, you bastard. As expected, they betrayed me. I immediately kill Haiyan GWI, Who was the most significant threat? High NGWI's body below the neck is entirely rotted by my curse, and even his nascent soul dissipated completely. However, I feel a bizarre chill. High NGWI's face is filled with shock, astonishment, and fear. But it's clear, in his final moments, his intent was not astonishment, but annoyance. I felt the intent of annoyance, relief, and indifference from him. How could anyone emit the intent of indifference at the moment of their death? This guy. It feels just as unsettling as when I killed Xiao Huiol. But unlike with Xiao Huiol, I didn't remove the skin mask and completely rotted High NGWI's remaining head to obliterate it. And it seems that High NGWI was quite an important figure to the people of the mystical scaled fish commanding sect, as they are all infuriated. You bastard. You killed Cultivator High. We'll kill you. No matter if you're an old monster of the 4-axis stage, we won't forgive you. It's laughable. Do you think you can oppose me? I cast Ghost King transformation once more. Then it strikes me. Wait, these guys. 3 at the heavenly being stage. 6 at the nascent soul stage surrounded me. Their real strength is 1 stage higher due to the 4 symbols' nascent souls, but there are clearly 9 of them. Weren't there nascent soul cultivators? I hurriedly look around. Then, I spot a nascent soul disciple of the mystical scaled fish commanding sect holding the heavenly lotus fruit in one hand, and a Tengwa depicting a beast with a large horn in the other, near the Melia tree lake with the totem poles. The beast depicted is exactly like the one on the gate of the side path. You? What are you trying to do? The disciple of the mystical scaled fish commanding sect grins and brings the heavenly lotus fruit to the Tengwa, shouting, I beseech you, recognizing sin, Sojoy, please judge the unjust contract, the unjust oppression, and the unjust abuse done to us by the Black Dragon King Haineum. I plead thus. If deemed unvirtuous, please dissolve this contract. Woo-woo. As the Tengwa begins to glow, the entity named Recognizing Sin within it seems to come alive and open its mouth. The disciple throws the heavenly lotus fruit into the mouth of Recognizing Sin. Then, the eyes of Recognizing Sin begin to shine, and that light flows into the bodies of the mystical scaled fish commanding sect cultivators. At the same time, a bright gleam appears in their eyes. It worked. We're finally free from that bastard High NEUM. We're free. Brace yourselves. Determination burns in their eyes. Now that High NEUM's restraints are gone, we can stake our own lives. Wereruru. I sense the atmosphere growing tense. They are burning their life force. Those who were at the heavenly being stage now rise to the mid-4-axis stage. The disciples who were at the nascent soul stage have now each reached the grand perfection heavenly being stage. They form a formation and attack me, and I face them with the Mad Lord circuits enveloping my entire body. Boom, boom, boom. The entire care layer trembles. Initially, I'm a bit flustered, but I soon start to push them back. No matter how much life force they burn, our overall skills are on different levels. This just tickles. Die. I unleash ghost fire all over my body and begin to operate Great Desert to Dead Sea. Heaven and earth spiritual energy converges towards me. And then it happens. Now, activate. What? Clang, clang, clang. Suddenly, thousands of chains spring up from the floor of the care layer. I discover where these chains come from. This is a trap beneath the care layer. The first water flow layer, the second Tao departure layer. Chains connected to the spiritual veins throughout the first and second layers intertwine. At the same time, a powerful attraction force emanates from the lakeside of the Melia tree. You bastards. The traps set then weren't for other races. The traps set by the disciples of the mystical scaled fish commanding sect in the water flow layer. I thought those traps were to make it harder for the other races following us. But no, those traps were meant to catch me off guard. Only now do I understand High NGWI's self-congratulation. They had celebrated not because they recruited me, but because they had laid traps to stab me in the back. I marvel at High NGWI's thoroughness, while simultaneously looking at the rotting remains of his corpse, who died in such a futile manner. Just what's his deal? Clang, clang, clang. I can't resist. The chains are one thing, but the attraction force from the lakeside is too strong. Now that we've extracted the Recognizing Sin Tengwa from the seal will be unstable. Hence, you must become the new axis of this seal. The disciples of the mystical scaled fish commanding sect glare at me as they speak. Consider it the price for killing High NGWI. You damned mystical scaled fish commanding sect bastards. You were planning to stab me in the back all along, even without High NGWI. I struggle violently, and each time, the chains set up by the mystical scaled fish commanding sect rattle. It's noisy. You've lost, so stop struggling and accept your fate. Damn it. Splash. Drawn by the attraction force, I'm pulled into the Melia tree lake, bound by the chains. My strength. The lake water isn't ordinary. As soon as I fall into the lake, I become unable to use any form of strength. It feels as if all my strength is nullified. I can use spiritual power, but physical strength itself is ineffective. However, my spiritual power is bound by the black chains, effectively sealing me completely. I grit my teeth, but soon calm my mind. Well, it doesn't matter. They will eventually release me. With their own hands. It's over. Though we captured the old monster, Disciple Hien GWI is dead. To think the one who devised the entire plan has died like this. Mystical Scaled Fish Commanding Sect has lost its strategist. What do we do now? There were sacrifices, but we have become free. The only witness to our newfound freedom has become the axis of the seal. The seal is intact, and the secret is safe. Hien Ewim won't know immediately, so let's report to the Grand Elders. Before Hien Ewim finds out, we need to find a new Grand Cultivator to back us up. Understood. They mourn Hien GWI's death and gather the recognizing Sintenghua and the fortuitous opportunities they obtained from the storage scroll. With that, they descend from the third floor with their newfound freedom. Unnoticed, Sio Li spread the mysterious bizarre goo among all of them with the record of transcending cultivation and exhausting martial arts. Unbeknownst to them, they are being assimilated by Sio Li as they pass through the Dao departure layer and water flow layer, exiting the storage scroll of Lofty Dragon True Person. A nascent soul disciple of the mystical scaled fish commanding sect asks a grand perfection, heavenly being Grand Elder. By the way, senior brothers, who do you think should be our new Grand Cultivator backer? Young Yun, Gi Jin, and Han Wen all belong to their respective sects, so they aren't suitable. Wai Ryang Xian and Wai Su are busy with the Grand Alliance, and Grand Alliance leader Jun Jae cannot favor any one sect. So, that leaves Gol Make, Tae Yeol John, and the newly appointed Grand Cultivator So Eunhyun. The nascent soul stage disciple nods. Among those three, who do you think it will be? Well, Grand Cultivator Gol Make still hasn't built up a force after all this time, so it will likely be the same this time as well. As for Grand Cultivator Tae Yeol John, it's hard to even know what they're up to, so I don't know. In my opinion, Grand Cultivator Seo Eun-hein is the most likely. Why do you think so? He's the newest, has no power base, and is young. He will likely welcome having a power that was a former 5 great sects of the human race under his command. What about Tae Yeol John? Well, I think. Trying to forget Hien GWI's death, they enthusiastically and cheerfully rise to the sky from the illusion formation outside the storage scroll. Soon after, swoosh, the 10 members of the mystical scaled fish commanding sect emerge through the sky under the waning moon. Then, let's head out, huh? And they flinch. Before the celestial pond, someone is standing. It's a blue-haired man, wearing blue robes and wiping his hands. Next to the man are the corpses of Gyo Yom and Nok Ju, whose heads have been severed, with blood splattered everywhere. Wearing a gentle expression, he wipes his bloodied hands with a torn piece of Gyo Yom's clothing and tosses the cloth aside. The blue-haired man with the face of Seo Eunhyun speaks to the disciples of the mystical scaled fish commanding sect. Have you been well, Taoist Seo? And the eyes of the disciples of the mystical scaled fish commanding sect flip as the mysterious bizarre goo within them begins to react violently. Chapter 315, Not a Lord, in 1. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Chapter 315, Not a Lord, Jin 1. How? I, who sank to the bottom of the lake in the care layer. I, who just arrived at the Shiji worship layer. And I, who transformed into the mysterious bizarre goo and entered the bodies of the cultivators of the mystical scaled fish commanding sect. All of me cry out in shock at the same time. How are you here? Seo Huiol. Ah, is that what you're curious about? Seo Huiol says with a kind smile. Why? Isn't there a teleportation array in Black Ghost Valley? As a Grand Cultivator, I formally requested to use the Black Ghost Valley's teleportation array. By using the Nether Crossing ship at the Black Ghost Valley in the human race, I was able to teleport to the Nether Crossing ship in the Swiftwind domain and arrive just in time. You bastard. I speak through the mouth of a disciple of the mystical scaled fish commanding sect. That's not what I'm asking. How did you break out of the barrier in just 500 years? The barrier I set up was no ordinary barrier. It was designed to be extremely difficult to break before 1,000 years had passed, with the condition that it would automatically release after 1,000 years. Of course, someone at the integration stage could simply tear it apart and escape, but Seo Huiol is certainly not at the integration stage. It's possible to glimpse 2 stages above his own by combining the powers of heaven, earth, heart, and puppet. However, even though Seo Huiol might be able to use heaven, earth, and puppet, it's absolutely impossible for him to use my formless sword at the level of tribulating heavens. How did you do it? At my question, Seo Huiol smiles faintly. Why are you so concerned, Taoist Seo? The human race is famously known for being a race full of camaraderie and affection, isn't it? That's news to me. Ho ho, whatever you may think. I simply made a request. It's impossible to break the barrier with my current power from the inside, but I could manage to at least send my voice outside. Voice? I glare at him in disbelief. I told all the other grand cultivators through my avatar that I would be in seclusion for 1,000 years, and that if I requested from inside to open the barrier, it meant I had likely fallen into demonic possession by my heart demon, so they should absolutely refuse. I also created General CO to guard the entrance. Who knows? Perhaps it worked because I conveyed my true feelings. Ho ho. I stare at him for a moment, then look at the throats of Gyo Yom and Nok Ju held in his hands. Why did you kill them? I feel a pang of regret for Gyo Yom. I heard from the demon race that Gyo Yom abandoned his kind like discarded trash. While he deserved punishment considering this, I hoped he could at least cure his wife before being punished. But ultimately, Gyo Yom's wish was completely thwarted by Seo Huiol. Seo Huiol smiles brightly. It's just a trivial joke, Taoist Seo. What difference does it make if a few bugs live or die? I don't bother to argue and just glare at him. There's no point in arguing with a heartless being. Instead, I mock Seo Huiol. How unfortunate for you. Wawum. Far away in the distance, the morning sun is rising from the east. Given the size of the bright cold realm, I don't understand how this is possible. But the sun and moon rise in the east and set in the west every day, and it is clearly morning now. As the darkness of the waning moon washes away, and with no shadow to conceal, the entrance to the storage scroll of Lofty Dragon True Person closes. Why did you come all the way here? You won't be able to do anything even if you have come. King. I surround Seo Huiol's body using the bodies of the mystical scaled fish commanding sect disciples. I intend to reverse corrupt him using the mysterious bizarre goo. However, Seo Huiol smiles warmly. Didn't you see something when you entered Lofty Dragon True Person's otherworld, Taoist Seo? The storage scroll of the Envoy of Health and Care. The place you entered isn't just an ordinary storage scroll. From the integration stage onwards, it's common to carry items in one's own domain. So why would someone like Lofty Dragon True Person need a storage scroll? Wawum. As I watch Seo Huiol extract something from the corpses of Nok Ju and Gyo Yom, I activate the mysterious bizarre goo while he rambles on. Mysterious bizarre goo, reverse assimilation. Chi. After sealing his 10 directions with the mysterious bizarre goo, I invade him. However, Seo Huiol just smiles calmly. The place you entered was, during the Great War that occurred hundreds of thousands of years ago, used as an alternate dimension by Lofty Dragon True Person to designate all living beings of the bright cold realm as protected species and prevent their extinction from the battle between love of virtue and Lofty Dragon. After teaching the concept of health, kind, to the beings of the bright cold realm, Lofty Dragon True Person allowed anyone who understood this concept to enter and become protected. Kugagugagugu. Seo Huiol's energy starts rising sharply. This is. He absorbs the energies of Gyo Yom and Nok Ju, temporarily exuding the aura of the 4-axis stage. His eyes gleam, and familiar characters begin to float around him. Health, Konging. Health axis, Konging Ju. Release, Jade. Flash. The power of health illuminates heaven and earth. At the same time, something massive echoes through the dead earth domain. Kowung clack. The sound of a latch opening, or perhaps a lock being undone. The moment I hear that sound, I notice goosebumps rising all over me. This bastard. The entrance to Lofty Dragon True Person's storage scroll had already closed, but Seo Huiol has reopened it. He's coming in here. You won't pass easily. I use all my strength to erode his mind with the mysterious bizarre goo. But at some point, I feel my connection with the mysterious bizarre goo fading. Ho ho. This spell, I've heard of it before. Wasn't it created by the Earth tribe of the True Devil realm to resist the assimilation of the heavenly fiends from the Bloodine realm? I see Seo Huiol's smirk. Apologies, but mine is not some primitive low-grade assimilation or parasitism like the heavenly fiends. It will be difficult for you. Ho ho. At the same time, my vision goes black and I feel the connection with the mysterious bizarre goo completely severed. Among the mysterious bizarre goo that have entered Seo Huiol, control over all of them is lost, leaving only the sight and sound of one goo. He has absorbed my goo and made them his own. Why did he leave the sight of just one goo? And soon, I understand why. Splash. Seo Huiol plunges into the celestial pond. Simultaneously, he skillfully navigates the illusionary formation by reading the constellations. This bastard. He left the site to make me anxious on purpose. I ponder, feeling a surge of irritation at Seo Huiol's intention. But it's not that big of a deal. Even if Seo Huiol reaches the care layer, I am sealed. Presumably, even Seo Huiol can't do anything about this lake water. The lake water nullifies physical force tremendously and also has significant resistance to spiritual power. He absolutely can't enter this water. He can't come in. So what can he do? Uh-huh. So you were sealed within the clear tears, Qingyi. What? I feel goosebumps all over my body. Xiao Huiol speaks through the remaining mysterious bizarre Gu's vision and hearing. This is going to be quite bothersome. But the way to nullify the clear tears is surprisingly simple. If I make a hole at the bottom of the care layer, the clear tears will naturally pour down to the lower layer. And you can come out, Daoist Xiao. Chills. I grind my teeth at the thought of the worst-case scenario. Xiao Huiol, this bastard, right now. Ah, so you're curious about how I read your thoughts. Step. Xiao Huiol breaks through the illusionary formation in an instant and reaches the gate entrance marked with the plaque scroll of Lofty Dragon True Person, the envoy of health and care. Creak. Upon reaching the entrance, Xiao Huiol begins to manipulate his face. His face twists and transforms from blue-haired Xiao Unhyun to the complete face of Xiao Huiol. Except for the lack of horns, he is now completely Xiao Huiol. Don't worry, Daoist Xiao. You'll understand soon enough. Ho. I feel a chill as if I have fallen into an ice cave. Since becoming a ghost king, I have never felt so cold and had my spine tingle like this. Does he really know all my thoughts? Tingle. Feeling a prickle from deep within my heart essence, I collect my thoughts. No, I can't believe all of Xiao Huiol's words. I always like to tell the truth. Don't be swayed by his deceitful words. With the prickling sensation in my heart essence, I ignore Xiao Huiol's words. Then, I inspect all the mysterious bizarre Gu connections and make my consciousness as dormant as possible. After that, I accelerate my consciousness with ultimate pinnacle and ensure that the waves of my consciousness do not leak out by using the wonderfully mysterious innate heart cannon before I organize my thoughts. Is he following my accelerated thoughts? No, he's not. He can't read all my thoughts. He can only read the parts that are strongly expressed, whether it's through the mysterious bizarre Gu or Yuan Yu's blood body. Even if there is a reason he can read my thoughts, it's not perfect. And then, as Xiao Huiol walks through the water flow layer, he speaks to me again. Interesting, Daoist Xiao. Why don't you give it a try? I can read everything. His words are certainly chilling. But the closer he gets to me, as he draws near, should I say it's a sense of vigilance? From deep within my heart essence, the prickling feeling grows stronger. And because of that prickle, I begin to doubt Xiao Huiol's words even more. Can he really read everything? If he could read everything, why would he need to threaten and instill fear through words? He could just silently read my thoughts. When the liar Xiao Huiol says he is telling me the truth, is it true when he says, I can read everything? No. Somehow, as the prickling sensation grows stronger, I begin to better understand Xiao Huiol's tactics. I'm becoming more certain that he can't read everything. Judging by his behavior, it's clear he's reading my thoughts by some means. But one thing is certain, he can't read everything. In that case, I operate the wonderfully mysterious innate heart cannon, making the waves of my mind complex and filling my consciousness with countless trivial thoughts. Try reading all this. Seeing. Iwanto general sia looks like a full wide os the main body's face lu clicketh at thesapida with kimian was delicious wickant they understand my aesthetic so we all you beggars futrag like and then his we all secret did theme biologita tenifsio well and the made lorderdirds wheaten sourpaw. After floating a multitude of useless thoughts on the surface of my consciousness, I hide the real secrets. That guy, Xiao Huiol, he gives me the chills. I think while taking a deep breath in the Xieji worship layer. The Xieji worship layer is dark. However, the darkness of the Xieji worship layer seems to be getting absorbed by my dream body, and my field of vision is expanding. I am waiting until my vision is fully restored. While Xiao Li blocks Xiao Huiol from reading my thoughts, I need to achieve something in the Xieji worship layer. After some time, Xiao Huiol reaches the end of the water flow layer and is ready to ascend to the Dao departure layer. At the same time, I realize my vision is completely restored. This is the Xieji worship layer. Ugh. Somehow, an eerie wind is howling ghostly wails. I open my mouth in amazement as I look at the huge things in front of me. The Xieji worship layer feels more like a warehouse rather than the small worlds the other layers resembled. Statues of recognizing sin as big as small hills, and hanging Tinghua paintings and scrolls. Large boxes, and an equally expansive jade slip. Wait, where I'm standing. I realize that I'm not standing on the ground, but on top of a desk. I have climbed onto an incredibly gigantic desk. The statue of recognizing sin in front of me. It's not a statue. It's a kind of recognizing sin seal. Fit for the body size of Lofty Dragon True Person. Upon closer inspection, this isn't a warehouse. Rather, this is an office. It resembles an office where someone conducts official affairs. And I feel this place wasn't used by Lofty Dragon True Person. Lofty Dragon True Person's body occupies one of the largest lands in the Earth Tribe territory. The entire True Dragon Alliance is essentially Lofty Dragon True Person's body. This office is large, but it's far too small to contain Lofty Dragon True Person's entire true form. Without looking further, I fly towards the enormous jade slip on the desk to gather information. Fortunately, I can use the flying escape technique in the Shieji worship layer, so I reach it quickly. Operating the wonderfully mysterious innate heart cannon above the jade slip, I envelop it with my consciousness and begin reading it. This jade slip is. My eyes sparkle. It's written in the language of the netherworld, which I learned from Bai Yul when I made the ritual worship scripture of wealth virtue my own. It's written in the language of the dead. I read the contents of the jade slip. This is. The jade slip is none other than a will. I seat holder of health, Kungadu, deputy judge, Fishi Feng, ancient force true lord, believe Jin Jin. Hei Nyong, Shing, speaks to lower seat great net immortal lofty dragon. Sing. Kwawa Ark. Name. The moment I hear that name, I feel an excruciating pressure crushing my mind. I have to endure. It feels like I'm going to be devoured immediately. KK. Queekik. Simultaneously, I steady my consciousness and strongly link the axis of wealth from Co. Lee's body to mine. The attraction force of the axis prevents my consciousness from being dispersed and obliterated. Huff, huh. When I regain my senses, I realize that Co. Huiol has already crossed half of the Tao departure layer. And around me are countless blood inscriptions written with the fingers of my dream body. They contain vast knowledge and formulas, and I instinctively know what they are as soon as I see them. Ah, I see. The 4-axis stage cultivator living in the human race's protected area. While recalling memories of the immortal art he saw, he believed some entity was resurrecting within him. Indeed, he even spewed out a handful of strange stones from his belly and sealed them. Those stones melted, leaving water containing the formula to control the clear scale armor. The moment I heard the name, Hei Nyong, I understood. That was the entity believed to be resurrecting within the 4-axis stage cultivator. And simultaneously, I feel a deep sense of relief and fear. Hei Nyong cannot resurrect. He was entirely, utterly obliterated, making resurrection impossible. The moment I accepted this knowledge, I understood. It's a truth only I could understand having faced numerous true immortals and survived. And simultaneously, I can also deduce the state of Changmun Ryan. Judging by how his symptoms resemble mine, his transformation into a salt pillar must have also been due to accepting information about a dead true immortal, just like me. The existence known as the owner of Salt Mountain will not revive through Changmun Ryan. He too is an existence utterly annihilated like Hei Nyong. Of course, the difference in reaction to the owner of Salt Mountain turning his entire body into a salt pillar upon sight, and mine is not only due to the difference in cultivation between me and Changmun Ryan, but also because the entity known as the owner of Salt Mountain holds a higher rank than Hei Nyong. In that case, the head realm harbors an existence higher than the deputy judge, and Changmun Ryan glimpsed the traces of that existence. While I feel relief regarding Changmun Ryan, the information makes me even more fearful about the head realm. I stare at the formula I have scattered. Although I can't figure out what it is, I barely suppress the desire to devour the formula, deciding instead to finish reading the jade slip to gain more information. The god of the underworld has commanded the selection of a tribunal to assist in the battle of the vast cold heavenly lord. The members of the tribunal are familiar faces, even to you, lofty dragon. Chief Judge, Soshi Punganjang, Nether Devil True Lord, Ding, Yu Hao Te, Love of Virtue. Reincarnation Judge, Haisung Ganjang, Nether Ghost True Lord, Mei Jinjin, Yu Su Ryan. Deputy Judge Ancient Force True Lord Hei Nyong. These are the seats that are part of the tribunal. And Purple Gold Heavenly Lord, under the orders of the god of the underworld, has struck the owner of light from behind and escaped to join us. Gra. Names. The names of distant entities pierce my mind. Enduring the pain that feels like my head is being torn apart, I gasp for breath while drooling uncontrollably. The agony is far worse and terrifying than when I had my testicles removed or when I consumed poison that caused pain to amplify 60,000 times. A terror envelopes me, as if the very essence of me will be devoured by the names. However, perhaps due to the resilience built from meeting numerous true immortals, or maybe due to the slight resistance developed after reaching the 4-axis stage, I barely managed to avoid disintegration. Madness. My hair has turned white from the ordeal. It's proof of how terrifying the pain and pressure from the names were. Co. Huiol is approaching. Gritting my teeth, I continue reading the jade slip. Thanks to the efforts of the vast cold heavenly lord, who held their ground against all the heavenly venerables and the owner of light. Even pushing the owner of light to the brink of annihilation, there was a lapse in the surveillance over the heavenly king, heavenly domain governed by the owner of light. As a result, we, who preside over the 5 blessings, were able to all gather. The chief judge, being at a critical juncture of promotion to supreme deity, was asked by the god of the underworld to send you in their place. However, the noble chief judge, determined to witness this historic moment with their own eyes and captivated by vast Cold's character, submitted their declaration of participation and descended to the sun and moon heavenly domain through the nether crossing river. I this seat, too, relinquished the position of king of immortal beasts and submitted my declaration of participation out of the same sentiment. Originally, you, lower seat great net immortal lofty dragon, would have been here in my place, but I chose not to bring you along. By the time you read this will, I will likely have been annihilated. I hope that at least one of us will return victorious, so you never have to read this will. However, to prepare for the worst, I must convey my will to you. If that entity is indeed what we imagine, it may be impossible to pass on my seat to you. If that happens, the netherworld will lose the 4 seats of longevity, wealth, health, and love of virtue all at once. Such a power vacuum in the netherworld will be catastrophic. To prevent this worst-case scenario, I leave this will hoping for you to become my successor and inherit the seat of health. Lofty dragon, you are my most faithful subordinate. I entrust you with the netherworld's law book, my office, my crown, my judicial pen, my seat, and my will. If we fail, this will naturally be passed on to you. Come to the sun and moon heavenly domain. The attraction force connected to my seat is linked to this will, so not even they can prevent you, my successor, from inheriting my seat. Lofty dragon, my subordinate as dear as my child. If I perish, you must assist the heavenly venerable of the underworld. That is the end of the jade slip. Kyuk, Kiehyok. I am lying on the ground, spewing blood like a fountain from my 7 apertures. Having encountered so many formidable entities, I am on the brink of death. Fortunately, thanks to meeting many true immortals before, I have developed some resistance, and thanks to reaching the 4-axis stage, my life force and consciousness have strengthened, preventing my disintegration. Besides hearing those terrifying names, there's no other harvest? With a desperate expression, I look around. On the distant, massive wall, there are tenghwas and scrolls larger than mountain ranges. Among them is a tenghwa that depicts a dragon, assumed to be lofty dragon true person, and a being with blood-red eyes shrouded in darkness. As I gaze upon the tenghwa titled Blood in Great War, Shane Bajan, I take a deep breath. My dream body is about to disintegrate. Damn, Seo Huiol is about to enter the care layer. At that moment, wait. I look at the depiction of lofty dragon true person on the tenghwa. Lofty dragon true person appears to be draped in a transparent canopy. Ziyang. At the same time, I feel the knowledge I gained when I heard the name, He Nyong, being digested in my mind. Kuward. Knowledge. If one doesn't die upon seeing a true immortal, they gain knowledge. Seeing the content of the knowledge, I grin. With this, I can win. Against that bastard Seo Huiol. Step. Above the care layer. Seo Huiol walks towards the lakeside with a grin. Haha, then Taoist Seo. I shall take your true main body. It's when he reaches out and focuses his attraction force. Shwerarara. The lake water begins to surge. Swoosh. And then, the water crashes down on Seo Huiol like a waterfall. Kook. Sensing the danger, Seo Huiol quickly steps back from the waterfall's trajectory. How did you escape from the clear tears, Taoist Seo? He glares with reptilian eyes at the Ghost King emerging from below. The Ghost King opens his 18 mouths and laughs. Did you call this clear tears, Ching'e? Yes, since this lake water is the tears of the immortal beast Xieji. I see. So it was one of the legacies left by the ancient Force True Lord for his subordinate. The Ghost King laughs, his eyes burning with ghost fire. This is not only called clear tears, but is also known as clear scale armor, Qingjia. Chua. Now then, let's have a proper fight, Seo Huiol. Swoosh. The lake water gathers in the void, encasing Seo Huiol. Without any resistance, Seo Huiol is sealed. Translator notes, Seo Lee's thoughts. I want to eat. General Seo looks like an idiot. Why does the main body's face look like that? The soup I had with Kim Yun was delicious. Why can't they understand my aesthetics? Seo Huiol, that beggar's foot rag. I like Kong Mini. What's Seo Huiol's secret? Did the main body really get eaten? If Seo Huiol and the Mad Lord ordered sweet and sour pork together, would they fight or not fight? Speaking of which, the Middle Realm's food culture hasn't really developed much.